Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from wherever you are, and welcome to DEI, the new show where we rub it in your faces because we're multicultural, sexy, and hung like a horse, especially Winnie, apparently. But with that
What?
being said, nothing, don't worry. With that being said, let's get into it. The name is just a bit of silly fun because, we're just using stupid right-wing buzzwords, flavor of the month stuff, and we'll move on to the next buzzword they use, which probably won't be long. These things have a circle of about a year, so expect
Oh,
a
the,
lot of
the
name
next the
changes.
next buzzword will straight up be the N word and the R and the P word, and I mean, like, they're
Hey,
not going to
welcome
hold
to
back.
the show. Yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
the next one. Welcome to the
yeah, they're
N-word
going to
show.
just
Yeah. I don't think we'll get away with that one. Yeah,
no.
I hope not.
unless YouTube does like Facebook and completely relaxes its policy, because on Facebook now you can use a bunch of ableist words that were getting you banned within a second of
Uh-huh.
posting them, apparently. So
It's ridiculous on Facebook now. It's like the Wild West.
yeah, yeah. Whereas before, I kind of prefer it. Okay, not the best words being used, but I kind of prefer it because before it was like you had to tiptoe. Everything was a tiptoe around Facebook. Like we'd get so many bans. At one point, I think probably its peak was between 2017 and 2020, where it was like a ban every other week for nothing and stuff you posted 10 years ago. And it's just like, oh, this place is just too much. Because what I did after that, I went back and deleted all of my Facebook right up until 2018. So there's nothing past that for that reason. Because I was getting like, banned from like years gone by. Oh, I need to get the chat up here.
What did
Hello,
I
chat.
get?
Sorry, not ignoring you. I forgot to press the button.
No, it's my startup stuff. Other than Dan Vance, but uh, I got banned from TikTok once, and I don't remember what I said, but I remember I don't say anything horrible, so like the fact that I got banned was crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok's the worst. I hate TikTok. I hate it with a passion. My second video got me a ban, a strike on my channel, and it was just a song, just me singing. I use that
Yeah,
word.
I know that song you sung.
You know the one I sang, and
Yeah,
it got me a strike. So I was just like, okay, fuck TikTok. I never liked it.
I no, actually, I made a joke on TikTok that got me a ban. It was because Conor McGregor, he graped. He's been convicted of grape.
Yeah.
So I made a joke on somebody's podcast saying that he's now eligible to be in Trump's cabinet because of he's got the qualifications now and
Mhm.
the to do so. And then boom, before you know it, after I made that joke, within a minute, the stream got cut off and I got kicked off, and I wasn't eligible to be on any live stream. I could still upload, but I wasn't eligible to be on any live stream for about 6 weeks.
That's ridiculous. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's why I don't bother with TikTok is worse because they got that China tech, and China tech is just like on it with like any anti-government stuff, and so obviously they have that on TikTok as well. And yeah, it's just I don't like TikTok. Just I can't
You
get
have
used
to
to
be.
it.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah, that's why people
people.
change their wording and their language.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to like grape
Yeah,
and SA and all of this sort of
Which
yeah,
is
stuff.
crazy to me because you're just now just changing the word. It still means the same thing. So it's
Mhm.
so like it doesn't matter. It's arbitrary. We're just now saying stupid things now.
yeah. I think that, and just the issue is just like TikTok just doesn't encourage you to be an adult. It encourages you to be a stupid little child and talk like a child. Uh, because the Chinese are a bunch of fucking snowflakes. And so as a result, everyone else has to partake in their snowflakiness.
I just want to also add, and I hate to say this because there's a lot of things I admire about China, but they're racist as fuck out there when it comes to black people,
Yeah,
Mhm.
because like Anthony Mackie is Captain America, but you wouldn't have thought so in their posters and shit like that because they're not portraying him. It's all Harrison Ford and Red Hulk. Anthony Mackie. They done
Oh,
they done the John Boyega thing with him and made him a tiny little speck on the fucking posters because
yeah,
they just got an
that's
issue with black
crazy.
people for some reason. And I think
yeah,
that's more with the hierarchy than the genuine people. But there are black people who live in China and they fucking love it there. I've seen some of their TikToks. So I think it's more with the powers that be than the general population, if you know
Hmm.
what I mean.
Like it is
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're weird. And then people just like, oh, look at them, they're communist. I'm like, China's not communist. They have a couple of good socialist policies, but they're a fucking bunch of racist, hyper-capitalist,
Mm-hmm.
hierarchical shitbags. And fuck them. And what gets on my tit, which is a nice segue as well. Well, a segue of nothing because it's not in one of my topics, but people's inability to work beyond the level of black and white and not understand the nuances of grey.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so prevalent today because there's always this like whataboutism or this, oh, well, if you don't like A, that's because you're B. And it's just like, no, dumb cunt, you don't understand. I hate both A and B. So, for example,
Right.
you criticize Republicans, they're like, oh, look at these Lib Dems and all this. Like, ah, don't call me a liberal. First of all, ill insulting. Okay, I'm a socialist, bitch. And secondly, just because I hate the Republicans doesn't mean I like the Democrats. It's the same in the UK. They're like, oh, look at
Correct.
you, you fucking wishy-washy Labour voter. I'm like, ah, I voted Green. Thank you very much. We get more options here in the UK to vote for different parties here. There's no way in hell I would have voted for Keir Starmer. It doesn't mean I'm automatically, because I hate the Tories or Reform, that I'm a Labour fan. I'm not. So, there's
He's
this,
in America right now, isn't he, Starmer? Fucking got
yeah,
his
you
nose
can
right
see
up
the
fucking Trump's
orange
ass.
tan on
Yeah.
his lips from all the ass kissing he's been doing. Yeah,
Well, so far we're not
absolutely.
in the crosshairs of America, which is interesting. I mean, but we're not part of the EU. He's going after Canada. He's going after Mexico. He's going after the EU and obviously Ukraine and Gaza. But not us, funnily enough.
Yeah, because Starmer's such an ineffective leader that he doesn't feel the need
Well,
to gaslight us or call us out.
maybe it's that United. He's got that connection to the UK being, partly Scottish. And maybe that's the reason.
Maybe, but that's never really stopped Trump before.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
And
Well, I'm just clutching. I'm just clutching. Yeah, but
oh no,
he's
I
got
know.
golf
Give it
courses
time.
there.
Give
His
it
golf
time.
courses and all of that shit.
Yeah, they've had a fantastic couple of weeks, just absolutely shitting on every country they possibly could. And now Starmer's just like, well, you know, because America wants it, what we're going to do is we're going to cut foreign aid, which I agree with, by the way, and I'll get into that in a second. But we're going to up defense spending, and I'm like, well, hang on a second. We don't have money for the waspy women. That's the pension women that got screwed over. We don't have money for the disabled. We don't have money to feed children. We don't have money for anything. But we've always got money for Ukraine, for Israel, and defense spending.
Mm-hmm.
And to up that defense spending, he's going to make more cuts to the disabled people because, they love to punch down
Jesus.
in this country. We're governed by sociopaths and we're partaking in the politics of cruelty because that's what the popular party of reform are doing. And so we're trying to play catch up with them, which is a terrible strategy because people often talk about, like, oh, well, you're just trying to appease to those voters. And yeah, we said it just like with the Democrats. If you try to appease the Republicans, there's no point. They're just going to vote for Republican. Same with the UK. If you're just going to appease Tory and Reform voters, they're just going to vote Tory and Reform. They're not going to vote for you. But we have about more than half of this country, or just under half of this country, that doesn't vote. And the thing that
Mm-hmm.
annoys me with the media, they never ever mention about that. They always talk about trying to appease certain voters. It's like, no, no, no. You should be going after the people that have lost all faith and hope and don't want to vote for anyone. Those are the people you should be appealing to. So,
Well, they don't want to do that because the media are corporations themselves. They don't want people to vote. We should be
Mm-hmm.
like Australia, where it is mandatory.
please
It's
do, man.
compulsory.
Yeah,
It's
it should be
compulsory by
compulsory.
law. You have to fucking vote.
Yep.
They won't have that in America. They won't have that here because if they did, the right wing will never be in power.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. When are your thoughts?
I feel the same way. But our left wing isn't very much better, so I don't know what we're thinking. you know,
Yeah.
like
You haven't
I,
got a
I don't
left wing, unfortunately. You got like something that's called the left, but I wouldn't call it the left.
right because
Yeah.
they call themselves the left and they preach these policies, but they don't actually like follow through with any of the things that they say. So it's like, or they're too I hate to use this word, pussified and scared and don't want to follow through with the things that they say because they don't have like the power behind them, or some big or big company is gonna pay them off. So like it's royally just fucked.
The hierarchy within the Democratic Party, and I say the hierarchy, they don't want to lose donor money. It's fundamental that they keep getting money from APAC and various other billionaires who want to fucking use them for their own needs. That's why people like Bernie Sanders gets his legs chopped out, down from under him. He's the greatest Democrat in my fucking lifetime. And all these other people like AOC who could have been in the Democratic. There was a position for a Democratic person to be in, and AOC was the front runner, but Nancy Pelosi chose this guy who's like in his late 70s, who's got fucking cancer in the throat, to be that particular person. Like they do this to themselves, and at the same time, I think they just they're all career fucking politicians anyway, who really want to just stay in power and earn big bucks and not do anything to rock the boat.
And I know I keep saying this, but whenever the hell Vance ran for Senate in my home state of Ohio, they were purposely giving money to MAGA people, the Democrats. So I like, please go look that up, because they purposely were. So I don't know what the fuck that was for, but they were purposely giving money because they said that it would help our people. But how the hell is that going to help our people?
Yeah, the whole like democratic strategy is just a piece to the right, a piece to the right, spit on the left, make sure the left don't get a voice, and just keep moving moving further right. And that's exactly where they are. Like
Yeah.
the Democrats now are your right wing party, and your Republicans are your far right party. There's no center and there's no left. Let alone like people talking about the left. There's no center in American politics. And
And
in sorry, go
when
on.
you are the center, or if you say, hey, I like guns and I'm pro-choice, well, both sides look at you like you have three heads.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like
Which is it's counterproductive to being a left winger, because if you're a left winger, you are pro guns and you are pro choice, because
mhm,
you're always pro against
mhm,
state enacted violence. It just you're not if you want to be, pardon the terminology, but if you want to be a wishy washy pussy, that's what the center is for. That's not what the left
mhm,
is for. Okay, nowhere in history have we sat there with our thumbs up our asses. And again, it's just what it's just another way of like just this fractured left in America. If you speak to a British lefty, they'll be like, "Yeah, mate, I'll fucking bottle anyone that tries it," kind of thing. They don't care. They're always up for a scrap. They don't. It's
I I per- I
it's just
personally, Ginger, have never met a right winger. Sorry, let me rephrase myself. I've never met a centrist who wasn't right wing, because all these self-proclaimed
yeah,
centrists are always right. Look at fucking what's his face, Rick B. He calls himself a centrist. And then you see his talking points. It's all fucking.
it's all
It's all
right
right
wing.
yeah,
wing. Like always, always, always. I think sometimes and I've seen that with people who call themselves centrists. The moment they're centrist, they'll be praising the right wing and shitting on lefties. Like, you might well
Yeah,
just be a right winger. Just own up to it, man. You're not remotely centrist whatsoever. You
yeah.
know.
I couldn't agree more. It's just it's just ridiculous. And on that note, like we have, of course, Elon Musk, who is your actual
Uh,
president now.
yeah.
President Elon Musk, I may
President
add.
Who
Elon, the
is
king
yeah,
Elon.
and
And
also an immigrant. I don't know how
yeah,
much I
it's
can
perfectly
stress
fine if
that.
a white immigrant comes in and ruins your country, but
Mhm.
brown bad, white good.
Uh huh.
It's like offering citizenship for $5 million to anyone. That's just like, ooh, oligarchs. More oligarchs can come and become
Yeah.
American citizens.
Yeah, doesn't matter. You're born here. Fuck you. We'll deport you. But you got $5 million. Yeah, yeah. Come right in. Make yourself
Come
at
right
home.
in. Just quickly go to some comments here. The SAVE Act in the US will infringe on the voting rights of any woman who has ever taken her partner's last name via marriage. You'll have to elaborate on that one. I don't know what the SAVE
So
Act is.
the Save Act, let me look because I can't
Oh,
remember. It was brought to us by some Republican asshole, of course. Chip Roy of Texas. And basically they want to, you have to give your birth certificate at the same time as your driver's license or your photo state ID, whatever. I don't know what you guys have there. So if my if I take Chris's last name as Vasquez, which is a problem in and of itself, if I take his last name and my birth certificate says Kimmel, they basically, well, who are you? We don't know who you are. You can't vote.
Oh, so it's just another way of just basically taking away your right to vote. Kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
he says it's just to make sure illegals don't vote, but we all know. We all freaking know.
Yeah, it's so anyone doesn't vote.
I saw that. Yeah, they just don't want women to vote. They're trying their own handmaid tale to stop women from voting by saying if your name doesn't match your birth certificate, which they won't after they're fucking married, but they take their husband's name, then you can't fucking vote. And they know what they're doing, but in the long run, what they are doing is they're going to make more fucking incels, but more women will refuse to get married if this shit happens, So they're fucking themselves in the long run. They always fuck themselves in the long run. They don't realize a lot of these laws, they end up fucking themselves over with those same laws. Book bans. Well, then we'll fucking ban the Bible. They don't want that. But yeah, they talk about horses' genitalia and shit like that in the Bible, so they ban it. And now I'm not sure if you know about that pronouns thing. That was glorious.
I didn't hear about that. Tell me.
I'm going to show you one.
Right. I'll just get to this comment here by Vance here. So, yeah, this doesn't surprise me. After the Mangione thing, I guarantee you they're going to look at ways to take away people's guns. And because they'll end up with absolute power, they'll be able to do it. And MAGAs are so stupid, they'll find a way to kind of just give up their guns.
Especially after that bridge said who will do Elon or who will kill Elon or something. Because since he's basically the president and Trump is a little puss, he is going to be scared for his life, as he should be. And I'm not threatening. I'm not going to go do it myself, but this is getting to be bullshit.
Yeah, it is. It's going to get to the point where someone is going to have to end up offing Elon. And I've said it on Facebook, taking your kid along as a bullet shield is not going to stop them from getting at you. Because if they've got one thing in mind, then your kid's just going to get it as well. That's the reality of it. We've seen it. How many times? Even my friends said under my post that where she lives in Northern Ireland, somebody who part of a gang or paramilitary thing, the guy come up with him with a gun, and the victim picks up his kid and used him as a bullet shield. The kid got shot. And the guy got shot. So two.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. So they're gonna get you and your kids. But he doesn't care. Sorry, go on, Zam. Play that.
So here is creating a law that ends up backfiring on you. Check it out. This is a glorious one.
I am crying at this.
Britt.
Oh, it's amazing.
Hello. Thank you, Madam Chairman. As the Senate overwhelmingly voted yes.
You can call me Mr. Chairman if you want.
Well, I cannot be compelled to use your preferred pronouns as you have all voted.
Wait a minute. We're talking about preferred pronouns. A lot of people are. I prefer to be called Chairman French. That's my preferred pronoun.
Emotional.
I know, and you all voted that preferred pronouns cannot be compelled speech in SF 77. Anyway, my name is Britt Borrell, and I'm a constituent.
I am crying at this.
That's great.
Glorious. And let me just remove this. So this is once again the Republicans, the right wing, creating a law that is now backfiring on them. Whenever, the lady afterwards actually said she doesn't really want people to use this method on everyone because she doesn't want this to become norm. But I don't know. I like the idea of going up to somebody and calling a man Mrs. Because I don't have to use your fucking preferred pronouns. So
it's well now.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, Mrs.
Oh
President.
my God.
No, it isn't. I don't have to use
J.D.
that.
Vance shouldn't be able to vote on the same as his. Yeah, good point. Good point.
The magma escaped, Winnie. Are you happy now? No one called it. God damn it. But yeah,
So yeah,
it's sorry, go on.
No one caught it.
it's a crazy thing that we're living in, but the more that they fight and try to like cancel us out or whatever you want to call us, because I would prefer to be on the side with people choosing their own pronouns. The more that it's gonna screw them over, and I am all here for it. Like, so my sister and I were talking before the election that all of this stuff is just going to end up hurting them, and now since we've got this shit, I can't wait for it all to implode. I really cannot.
Yeah, they're so myopic. They don't think that they just think, ha ha, I've owned the libs, and then the libs use their own policies against them. They're like, hang on, you can't do this. This is undemocratic. Oh, won't someone think of me? You know, flipping idiots.
Every fucking time, man.
Every time.
Every fucking time.
And then suddenly the rules change again, and it's just like, oh, okay, you've got no principles. You just want to be a fascist little fuck.
All you want to do is take rights away. You don't give a shit about what it is, just as so long as you can swing your dick around. That's all it is. I am fiery today. I'm sorry.
No, go for it, mate. That's the whole point of this. That's why we made this. This is mine and Zan's way of venting our frustrations at politics, and anyone else that wants to vent. That's what this platform is for. You know, we're an open door. Just come in, scream your lungs out. You need to. That's the whole point of this.
Been doing it for years.
Yeah, exactly. And so this, speaking of making me want to scream, the Tate brothers are now in America, and
Yay!
America, you have a new family of nonces that have joined you, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Human traffickers.
Yeah, more
human
traffickers. They'll join with Matt
done.
Gaetz. Just have a good time, you know what I mean? And yeah,
he's the modern day.
Sorry, go on.
He's the modern day Jeffrey Epstein. Like he's Jeffrey Epstein of the 21st century. What he's done, and he's bragged about all of this shit. Like people are like, it's like with Donald Trump when like there's Donald Trump seen with Epstein various times and hanged around with him, went to Lolita Island, all of this shit. He flies his plane currently as well when he actually before he became president again, and now you got Andrew Tate doing pretty much the same shit, but using social media to brag about how gangster he is and how much of a fucking arsehole he is, and taking advantage not only of women but men too who want to be like him. And you know what? I don't give a fuck about those men who want to be like him. I'm glad he's taking your fucking money because you have to be an arsehole to fucking want to be like him in the first place. But he helps nobody but himself. He's an awful human being, and that's why fucking Trump took him. But what pisses me off the most is that this motherfucker has been in Romania for years. When the fuck was he ever going to go to court and face the repercussions? They had so much time. And I hate the idea of people constantly saying, oh, they're building his case. Like, fucking hell.
It does not take that long.
It's like, how long? Just do it. It's like, fucking hell, just do it. Like, it's been 3 years at least, and he never went to court for shit. I'm furious.
And also, like, the British government as well, another fucking point of weakness where, like, they didn't exercise their extradition rights to kind of bring Tate back because he's wanted for things over here as well, such as, you know, R Word and SA and things like that. And they didn't, you know, and he sat in Romania. The Romanian authorities, they only acted when they felt insulted, because before that, you know what I mean, they were just letting him get by with everything like they do because it's a massive misogynistic culture, fucking horrible culture in Romania, among the worst for misogyny and treatment of women in Europe. And it was only when they felt insulted that they, or pressure to act, they act. And now here we are again. Pressure from the Trump cabinet to let Tate go and to grant him his rights to travel, and off he went. He's now in America, which he has a right to stay in. He has dual citizenship because I think his dad was American, and so he's now can live in America, which is just going to help him make more money, get more famous, and the parasites that latch onto him give them more fame as well. And it's basically essentially a nice big fuck you to women. That's what it is. It's just another fuck you to women.
Although the AG of Florida keeps saying that he's going to hold him accountable, but fuck you, you're just like all the rest of them. I don't believe that.
Really, the AG of Florida, the DeSantis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Run high heels.
His name is Meyer or something. I don't know how to say it, but
by the way, those high heels he wears under his boots, that's gender affirming care right there, baby.
Uh-huh.
You know, right there.
Absolutely. Hello, baby hobo slabs. What a great name. Welcome. I think
Thanks
it's
for
hilarious
coming in.
Pushback on the Tate brothers.
Well, maybe because they're Muslim, you know, and even then, I don't know if they've been pushing that Muslim grift recently.
Are they really though?
Because you know, you'll find out how Muslim they are if they're drinking Dom Perignon. I mean, right now is the first day of Ramadan, so we'll see how Muslim they are in the upcoming weeks. Because I'm sure they'll be smoking cigars and fucking partying and God knows what else. Because that's the Tate brothers for you. You know, the hypocrites, and plus they were pro-Palestinian for a while, but they'll probably not give a fuck anymore because with the way Donald Trump is, and apparently they owe everything to
everything.
Trump.
Once they're over in America, they're just going to be gung ho fuckwits. They'll probably abandon any pretense now and just be like, yeah, fuck it. Now we're safe. We're in the States. We've got our little gang of incels surrounding us.
Let's see how long it takes for them to run for Congress.
Yeah,
he wants to be prime minister, by the way.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah, which shows how stupid he is because, you know, it's not like running for president. You can't just be like, I'm going to run for prime minister. You've got to get a whole party together. He could probably join Reform.
You know what party? You know, he wanted to make his own party. It's called the Bro Party.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
How dumb does that even sound?
Yeah, which would be like, anyway. So I just go to Vance's comment here. Yeah, I think that the pushback on the Tate brothers is coming. He's hilarious that the pushback from the Tate brothers is coming from Ron DeSantis. Well, he's just desperate to stay relevant now as well because he botched his run, and we should be thankful because he's worse than Donald Trump.
Yep.
In terms of just being a fascist and knowing what he's doing, sort of. So in the worst possible way. So he's just relevant. So he's going to clutch at straws now and try to get something because he didn't even get anything from Trump. So he's just sitting down there, and you know, it'd be funny if they replace him as well.
By the way, you mentioned Happy Ramadan. I mean, I'm not going to go on some rant, but I'll tell you this from a perspective as a cab driver. There's a lot of Muslims who do my type of work, and there's going to be so much more fucking work available. But there'll be periods during the day where they won't work because they have to break fast and eat. You know, it's compulsory. So yeah, that's going to be it's going to be good for me. But there'll be more work available.
Nice,
yeah,
fantastic. You'll be like, yes, Happy Ramadan. I pick you up, mate. Don't worry. I was munching on a fucking burger like midday. Let's go.
Yeah.
Too
and
right.
the fucking first day today, the fucking fat fry up, and you know, from a cafe which I go past all the time called Zamazingo, and I thought which is near.
Name.
Yeah. It's near the hospital, but look at my left arm. I had some blood taken from me today. So it was near the hospital.
By the hospital as a normal blood, because there's nothing left to take from us. So I'm just
exactly. But yeah, I had my blood test today, and I thought, oh well, and I didn't take my car. I took a cab. So I thought, okay, well, it felt quite liberating not having my fucking car. I could go walk everywhere and not have to worry about getting a ticket and shit. So but then
getting on a train for once, Zam.
You
know.
But I walked around and I thought, I'm going to go to Zamazingo. I pass it all the time, but I can never park around that area. So I'm going to go there today. And I had a really beautiful fry up. I was very happy.
Lovely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You know, but fucking, you should have done like a stack between 2 hash browns with everything else in there, taken a picture of it and bit into it, just made a mess because you know
the hash browns were massive, absolutely massive as well. Yeah.
Was it the book standard ones or did they make them there?
I don't know. I mean, they had them pre-made, but they were quite big. They didn't look like they came out of a packet.
Right.
You know, like they were like ready to go. You know, sort of hash browns. They had the shape to it, like the triangular shape to it.
Oh, you know, they're frozen, pre-made. A real hash brown is nice. These the pre-made stuff I loathe. with a passion. But the real hash brown is just to mash up a load of potatoes together and you just shove it on the grill, and
I'm very happy. Yeah,
it's delicious.
and I'm very happy. The sausages were nice and long. I like long sausages, and the
Yeah,
bacon, the back bacon was like nice long, streaky, not streaky, but nice big bacon, and they really were very generous with the mushrooms as well. So can't
fantastic,
complain. Yeah.
awesome, nice. So they have to be plastic straws we clutch at now here in the US. The POTUS won't take no paper straws. Yeah, well, it's another victory for MAGA. No more plastic
Which
straws.
is funny because everywhere around him in DC is blue. They are blue. We are still using paper straws. The only all that I think that's so funny. Nothing is going to change around him in direct DC, even though he wants to do that, because I saw recently that he's trying to get a hold of making DC federal instead of having its own. We have our own mayor and stuff. He doesn't want that anymore. So
Is he trying to just make things better, because that actually benefits DC, because
mhm.
that means that they can't just make up their own prices or some shit like that, because I know it's detached from like
Well, it's not a state, it's a city,
yeah.
but they have their own mayor and they have their own there's like city councils and stuff. So yeah, I don't know if that would actually be better or not. I know that all of them are pissed.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, there are some policies that he's done that are fucking fantastic globally, because he's just like, we're going to remove military support and take our bases away, and we're going to stop foreign aid and all this. And I'm like, this is
Yeah.
great,
Uh-huh.
because people always hear, oh, foreign aid, we're helping these foreign countries. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're putting them in debt, and you're levying huge interest rates against them, where most of their GDP goes to just paying off those interest rates before they can even touch the debt,
Mhm.
which means that you just end up selling off your assets in order to get extra money to pay off those debts, and it never ends. This is why Africa is so piss poor, because they're all
Mhm.
indebted to the IMF deliberately, and you
Mhm.
have to do it, because if you don't, they're going to overthrow your government, which is
Yep.
exactly what they did to Bolivia how many times.
Mhm.
Who under Morales, they were debt free. They ditched the IMF, and as soon as they did that, it was like, more coups needed. So him getting rid of foreign aid is brilliant.
Mhm.
Removing military bases is brilliant. The irony of the US cucking to Russia is it's better for world peace. It's not better for Ukraine, who unfortunately are getting spit roasted and have to surrender their minerals before they can get any more support from the US. And go off on a small tangent here. This is why I fucking loathe the EU and Europe, because it's whatever America wants. Now, if I'm leaders in EU countries, I'm like, all right, okay, this situation is serious now, because if we have a US Russia alliance, that we're in the middle of that, and that will allow the Russians to start pushing further, more boundaries, and end up with US support and guns and all this kind of stuff. So if the EU is serious, it actually needs its own NATO. It needs to disband the current NATO, which is another good thing, and just create its own separate unit or army to kind of start protecting itself. Because we're in a serious situation here where the there could be the possibility that the USA end up being the Germans of the 2020s, and a possibility of war could happen if they start flexing their muscle too much. But of course, our leaders are dickless fuckwits, and they're not going to do that,
Mhm.
because they're idiots. Hey, Rigby, welcome.
Hello, Rick B.
So yes, got that out of the way, and yeah, poor like fucking Ukraine, man. I feel so bad for them. They're just
Mhm.
Well, you
Because
saw
they were
that.
doing so good.
yeah,
That clip with Trump and Zelensky. I mean, they were fucking arguing.
yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
Find it, because
Yes,
after
please
this
do.
clip, if nobody else has anything else on politics, we'll move on to other stuff, because there's quite a lot of TV news for a change. Normally, it's all politics, because the world of TV and game is just dead. But I have some nice, well, not nice stuff, because obviously there's Michelle Trachtenberg and Gene Hackman
Mhm.
stuff to talk about.
There's
But
still not a lot on game too. Like anything on the Switch is just speculation. So
Yeah, I mean, again, even the gaming news is not good news here. It's fucking dire. But
Mhm.
it's right. Let me just get that other article up. How's everyone in the chat doing? Welcome to the stream. I'm
Because a
absolutely
lot of it is,
wasting time here just to get to what I need.
there's a lot of it is just on stupid shit. But let's get to it. This is Zelensky. But check this out.
My second question for President Zelensky. Do you ever? Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit.
That's the question.
Just want to see if you do you own a suit?
Yeah, you have problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting.
I don't have
the
such.
office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish. Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something
Maybe
like this.
something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than yeah. Thank you. Thank you for.
That's what fucking matters right now.
Like they don't ask this to Elon Musk, do they? You know, like for fuck's sake. But
God, and he
Here we
looks
go.
like a
You think
big
You're
fat water
gambling with
gun.
World War III.
What do you think
You're
about-
gambling
what do
with
you
World
think
War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting, have
today.
you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can.
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking
That
loudly.
what?
Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
You
have a damn
We-
good chance
Fuck
of coming
you,
out
Donald
okay
Trump.
because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
allowed.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
allowed.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
We gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if,
West
if
people?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of
accept
times
that
thank
there,
you
accept
to
that,
American people.
accept
Yeah,
that
I
there are
hate this man.
disagreements, and let's go
I
litigate
hate
those
both of
disagreements
them
rather
so
than
much.
trying to fight it out in the
just
American media
Get out of
when
here.
you're
Putin
wrong.
dick so
We
hard
know that
right
you're
now.
wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the
Donald
American people
Trump
to
are
see what's
fighting
going
between
on.
each other.
I think it's very
See
important.
who
That's why I
can
kept
suck
this going so
Putin's
long.
dick the hardest.
You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
Gets my ass
You're
here.
buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running low
I know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
that
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with
a
you.
guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
God, you have to really
That
Oh,
was with
Jesus
go to
Obama.
Biden all the time.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you
Obama.
the javelins to take out all those
Wait, what?
tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful.
What the fuck
Because
are you
let me
talking
tell you,
about?
you don't have the cards.
Just a moron.
With us, you have the cards.
You think
You're gambling.
Yeah, that was the.
What does that mean?
Well, it's just double talk from Trump. You know, that's what he does, and everyone thinks he's the fucking bee's knees. I was reading the comments. It was a mix. There were people who think, yeah, this is our president, Emo, and you know, Trump's not wrong, and all of that. While other people are looking at like it's a fucking disgrace. Like, you know, it's just a show for Donald Trump. Everything Donald Trump does is a campaign rally. Everything he fucking does. You know, he's
Yeah,
got the
this
cabinet
one-
meeting. It's a fucking campaign rally.
this one right here, this is an absolute display of cuckery to Putin. This is to show Putin to say, look what we're doing to your enemy. Look, we're belittling him. Aren't I fantastic? Please don't embarrass me. Please give me more money, Mr. Oligarchs. That's all that come across as, because that's what happens when you're. It's like the people that are adjacent to Trump. They'll shout and scream from the top of their voice how much they love Trump and he's fantastic. Of course, Trump can't do that exactly with Putin, so he does it the other way by just showing, because he won't do this with other world leaders, but he's doing it with Zelensky, how hard it came down on him. And that's just more of a flex to show how much he loves Putin. So it just shows how weak Trump is. And I'll just go to some comments here. Zelensky is just going to have to lump it. Unfortunately, he's in a terrible position. Yeah, he's in a terrible position. That's why the UK and Germany do have to step in to kind of be that nullifier. Otherwise, that Ukraine's fucked. The minute the weapons dry up for Ukraine, the Russians will take over, and then who's to stop them from advancing even further? I'm not saying that the Russians are a direct threat to the UK, because they can barely take out the Ukrainians, and if the UK actually had some balls and went to war with Russia, they'll probably fuck them up good. But there's always the prospect of nukes, which, I mean, at this point in time, I'll say just bring on the bloody news. Yeah, it was like Jeremy Kyle.
Nukes would be a bad option for Putin, but like he's nuking his own country if he fucking hits Ukraine, so it makes no sense.
No,
He's
not
nuking a land.
Ukraine, just here where I am, just North London. Drop a nuke here, fucking end it all. I'll be happy with that.
What scares me the most is that apparently we are a target for the Russians. You know, I keep hearing that they want to fucking nuke us. Like, Jesus Christ.
That's fine. You know, if they do want to nuke us, they'll get nuked back. But, you know, I mean, no one's going to nuke anyone, because at the end of the day, it's going to upset the capitalists and they won't be able to make money from it. So ain't nobody getting nuked. It's all just a big dick flex by a bunch of small-minded idiots who offer their people nothing, so they need distractions. There always needs to be, for the right wings, there's always needs to be an enemy. There always needs to be a target. And it's a distraction tool to say, yes, look at this while we ransack your country and give everything to the oligarchs. And the UK is no different. Russia's no different. Turkey, prime example, the Kurds, the Greeks, always the fucking Kurds and the Greeks, good distraction. Oh, they're the enemy. Meanwhile, the Turks are like among the poorest in that region. And that's why so many of them leave the country and come over here. But hey, at least Erdogan's getting those pesky Kurds. So yeah, but I just Ukraine, man. They're the ones that are going to suffer, and they'll probably end up losing the whole fucking country at this point, at this rate, unless people step up. So yeah, it was definitely a public humiliation. PT will be over the moon. Starmer will hate it because it undermines everything that was promised yesterday. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It is I mean, they call it a special relationship, but it's more, the special relationship is just Americans just, you know, stroking the UK on the head to say, oh, yes, I know you had a big empire. You were the world's biggest empire. And we'll just patronize you by calling it a special relationship. But in reality, you're nothing. You're just a 51st state. You're a bunch of soys. All our stuff here in the UK is owned by Americans. Like you pick up food and you'll see the back of a package. It's just an American corporation. Health is owned by American corporations. Everything. We've sold everything to the Americans. The UK is just a bitch. And if you really want to be a strong prime minister, you start really flexing that muscle in the corporate sphere by saying, right, no more tax loopholes. Fuck you, Google. Fuck you, Microsoft. Fuck you, Amazon. Stringent, much more stringent employment laws to kind of come down harder on Amazon, and no foreign corporation is allowed to own more than 30% of our own homemade companies, and you have to forcibly sell off your assets that you own 100% of back to the UK government. That would send shivers down the spines of the world. And that would be like, we've got to coup this person because it's affecting corporate profits. Because that's exactly what they did in the Middle East. They kicked out all the British and American oil companies. They're like, okay, well, we need to coup these countries. South Americans, taking control of their fruit? We can't be having that. We need to coup these countries. And that's what Britain does. The reality of Britain is it doesn't own any of its assets anymore. It's all owned by Americans. So that's how you really show strong
Everything
leadership.
we own, everything, our football clubs, everything, our
Everything.
fucking our properties, they're owned by China. Like fucking hell, like everything
The
is owned
Chinese, the
by.
Russians, the Americans, they own everything. We sell it off to the highest bidder. The Arabs, they own everything. We sell it off to the highest bidder. There is no when these same right wingers talk about patriotism and being British and British tradition and all this kind of shit, what they basically mean by British tradition is allowing the Americans to do exactly what the East India Company did. And if you don't know the history of the East India Company, that was the first kind of corporation that colonized a country in India, and it had its own private military. Okay, this was before like the British Empire, and not before it became a thing, but it was like it's the first ever known corporation to own an entire country, and that's basically that's what America is. It's just corporations just owning entire countries. Unfortunately, yeah.
And if you're in America, corporations are people, so it's
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does that mean I go to jail if I stab the wall of Google headquarters? Like, oh
I
my god,
guess.
it's bleeding.
As long as
Stab
you're a
the person.
corporation. Jesus, Mary and
Okay.
Joseph.
Moving on to film and TV stuff. So sadly we lost Gene Hackman, who and his wife and dog. Let's not forget the doggy. Who, okay, to be fair, it was good innings and all of this kind of stuff. But when you first read the article and the police's initial response was no foul play suspected, and it was like, hang on, 2 people and a dog found dead while the other 2 dogs are still alive, and you suspect no foul play. And now, obviously, 5 minutes later, because American cops are so fucking stupid, they're like, oh, actually, this is a suspicious death, and we're going to investigate it. Now, I initially thought, oh, maybe it's carbon monoxide poisoning, gas poisoning, but that they ruled that out. They did tests. The fire department came, because that's like the first port of call when you see like 2 people dead and no trauma. So the investigation is still going on, and it's kind of a sad way
Very, yeah. Because
sad
he
way
was
to go.
95 or something, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she
which
was 63. So she
yeah,
would, even if he was older and frail, like we tend to get when we're 93, she would still be able to take care of him and do things. So, that it's something weird happened, and that is really sad. And why were the
something.
2 dogs still alive? If it was
Yeah,
gas, 2 dogs would not have been alive.
yeah, exactly. We've talked about Trump's gold card. Don't worry, we talked about that early on. But yeah, I mean, it's a sad way to go. He had plenty of like kids and grandkids to kind of help look after both of them if needed. So I don't know if like pure speculation here. So please just take this. I don't know if something happened to him and then she took her own life, and that own dog there just starved to death. Which that doesn't make sense because dogs can go quite a while without eating before they
Or
starve to
if
death.
women tend to use poison or like medication or something, maybe he ate the meds. That could be something.
Maybe he took his own life and then she saw it and this that, or she fell and died, and then obviously he's too old and frail to look after himself, or
Mm-hmm.
there's. Did you read the full details? I think she slipped and the heater fell on her head, and the pills she was about to take fell off. Yeah, I've read all that. Oh, it's a shame if the dog ate the fucking pills, and that's what killed the doggy. But that's what I reckon as well. It's like she fell and smashed her head in, and then something happened to Gene afterwards because he's unable to look after himself. He's
Mm-hmm.
95, so maybe he fell and that just took him out. But what a tragedy to go. What a fucking. I mean, Gene Hackman's a legend, an absolute legend. So, yeah. Zam, your
I just
thoughts?
want to, yeah. I'm not going to speculate on his death and all of that. I know nothing, and I don't want to really go there. Whatever news comes out will come out, and then we can talk about it. I just want to talk about some of my favorite roles of Gene Hackman, because the guy he's done everything. You know, the French Connection 1 and 2, um, superb. Obviously, Lex Luthor. I'm not the biggest fan of his version of Lex Luthor,
No,
to
I
be
hated
honest.
it.
You know, I prefer the Clancy Brown animated version where
Yeah.
he's a colder character and all of that. You know, in my opinion, but still, he's renowned for that too. And he's on so many roles. You know, a lot of the characters he plays are quite, stubborn, straight to the point sort of characters. But then you see like roles like he did in Get Shorty, where he's a bit of a weasel. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, this guy really can act. But my favorite role of Gene Hackman is the FBI agent he plays in Mississippi Burning.
Yeah.
I loved, Mississippi Burning was the first film I watched as a kid, which really made me appreciate cinema, because all the stuff I watched was pop fluffy shit, and then one day, and I'll never watch anything like Mississippi Burning. I was too young for all that, and then I watched that film, and it really made me appreciate cinema because it was so in depth, and his character being a man from the South as well, but one of the good guys and all of that. And it's just brilliant film, and his performance was so great. I love him. He's the greatest supporting actor of all time. He really is, and that's a disservice because he's been the lead in many things, but most of his roles, even in the Mississippi Burning, because William Dafoe was the main character. But he was a supporting role, maybe a dual role, but yeah, he's always playing a supporting role, and he's superb. Like one of the greatest ever.
Yeah. I mean, I concur with the French Connection. Two excellent films. I'm with you on his Lex Luthor. I hated his Lex Luthor with a passion. I thought it just didn't work. Like he just kept making him campier and campier, and it was just like
Miss Tessmacher. I love that though.
But the guy has some amazing films, and he was a very underrated comedic actor. Like if you watch him in Heartbreakers, that's a fantastic film. So Heartbreakers it's an underrated film. I love it. It had like Sigourney Weaver in it, and Jennifer Love Hewitt, Jason Lee, and the mother and daughter, like a couple of con artists. It also had Ray Liotta in it, who was hilarious. Another one who busted out his comedic chops in it. And they're just a couple of con artists, and obviously, it goes. She tries to con one guy, but ends up falling in love with him, and all this kind of stuff. And the mother has like Ray Liotta chasing after her because he's like a mafia type, and just it's pure calamity and hilarious. And it's one of my favorite Gene Hackman roles in it because he was hilariously sleazy in it. Enemy of the State, another great one, another underrated little gem of a film.
Quick and the Dead. I love him in that.
What's
I
that?
love him in Quick and the Dead.
Quick and the Dead.
I love him in that.
I loved him in that, and Wyatt Earp was one of my favorite movies ever. So
yeah, Wyatt Earp. Yeah, just the guy was amazing. But yeah, again, Mississippi Burning is just that film. That film. I just remember because it was the first kind of like with Zam, the first like really adult film I went and saw in the cinema, and I saw it in Greece with my auntie. And my auntie, bless her, because it was very adult theme, she was explaining things to me because I was only 7 or 8 when it came out. So she was explaining to me about the history of racist America and all this. And then, this is coming from Greeks who aren't exactly well versed on a lot of history outside of their own, but she knew all the fucking stuff. And she was explaining it to me. So that's why that film, like, always holds a special place in my heart, and just how brutal it was. So, it's just
the brutality of it. Yeah. Very, very funny, Rick B. But regardless, Unforgiven's good. But some of those roles kind of blend a little bit with Unforgiven and Quicker the Dead and stuff like that. He can be quite similar in a lot of the roles he plays. That, and then you put in that what was that submarine movie he did with Denzel Washington and all that.
That one.
He's kind of in some of those roles. He's kind of in his wheelhouse a little bit, like where you don't have to. You just have to like just shout a lot and all of that. And yeah, it's great Gene Hackman performance.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell some of the roles where he just kind of phoned it in and just did his normal shtick, and other ones. That's why I say like Heartbreakers and things like that is just like a standout for him because he just plays such a sleazy wanker in it.
And that
and
and Get Shorty, yeah.
yeah, Get Shorty as well. Shit, how did I forget that? Which is just one of the funniest films ever made. It's such a brilliant film. And yeah, the guy just
Poseidon Adventure. I mean, he died in that movie. I thought
yes,
the hero, he was the lead, and he died just before he reached the end. He
yeah.
sacrificed himself. Yeah, I
Wasn't
mean,
he
sorry
like
for giving it
Towering
away.
Inferno as well? Wasn't he
No,
like
he
in that?
wasn't in that.
No,
He
just
wasn't in that.
Poseidon
But that
Adventure.
that was a period of disaster movies in the
That's right.
70s,
Yeah,
and
great
yeah,
film.
yeah.
Yeah, great films. And then yeah, but he retired 20 years ago. The last film he made
Hmm.
was in 2004. He was just like, it was in his 70s. Like, yeah, I'm done. Fuck this.
What film was that? Because he started
Oh,
making shit. I'll be honest with you. Like, Enemy of the State with Will Smith. I didn't appreciate that film. I
you like
thought,
it? Oh, I love
no,
Enemy of the
I
State.
See,
didn't
I like
appreciate.
it
No,
too, but I
no,
love Will Smith, so
Oh,
I
you
didn't
do? Oh,
appreciate
that
it.
makes
No, not
one
to
of
say I
me.
didn't like it. I just don't appreciate it. I don't think it's like, oh, this is an amazing movie. Like this is when Will Smith was trying to be taken seriously as an actor, and it's funny because only I think recently when he's playing doing stuff like where he's playing the Williams sisters' father, King Richard. That's
hmm
when he's showing his act. Or when he played Muhammad Ali, that's when you're showing your acting chops, not these stupid,
hmm
political thrillers. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I can't speak much on Will Smith. I can't stand the guy. Sorry, Winnie.
it's fine.
Outside, like Fresh Prince, I love Fresh Prince. One of the best sitcoms. I love that. But it's more Uncle Phil and Carlton. Like Will Smith was great in it, but Carlton was just the star uh, for me. But with I mean, Gene Hackman's last film was a pile of shit called Welcome to Mooseport, which I think that had
I never even heard of it until I just saw it.
yeah,
Has
had
he
that
done
one.
anything with Wes Anderson? He must have done a Wes Anderson movie.
He did the Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
that's
yeah.
it.
Fantastic
Yep.
film. I forgot that he did that. And he was great in that as well.
That was one of his last films.
Yeah. Wes Anderson is like one of my all-time favorite directors as well. I pretty much
Yeah.
love 90% of his stuff. He was great in that. And then did Behind the Enemy Lines, which is just, a bog standard film with Owen Wilson.
I
And
remember that.
Runaway
That was Owen
Jury.
Wilson's best movies, by the way, because
Huh?
he wasn't
Yeah.
being Owen Wilson in that movie. It was a
More
serious role.
serious.
Like when you're crawling through the dead bodies and stuff like that. I remember that. Yeah, it was a great
Yeah, it
film.
was an okay film. Yeah,
That also had Danny Glover in it, I think, as well.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot
yeah.
about Danny Glover. He's good too.
Oh, I love Danny Glover. Legend.
Predator 2,
Absolutely.
man.
I did Runaway Jury was one of his last films as well. As it was penultimate film. Great film.
Hmm.
Very underrated with John Cusack
Hmm.
and that. So his last couple of films weren't too bad. Like I said, he had Heartbreakers, which is criminally underrated. He did Heist, which was okay. Royal Tenenbaums, Behind Enemy Lines, Runaway Jury, and then Welcome to Mooseport. And that was it. But, he didn't go out too bad. Like some people, like, I always think about Eddie Murphy, and I think, because Eddie Murphy is one of my all-time favorites as well. Like I could verbatim do Eddie Murphy Raw and Delirious track for track because I watched them so many bloody times. But you look at his movie career post like from the 90s onwards, and he's just like fucking it's more duds. It's like Harrison Ford, more duds than successes. And it's
He's done one or two serious roles, and I think to myself, I really want to see. I like seeing comedic actors do serious roles, and I like seeing serious actors do comedic roles. Like if you're an actor, and I do mean if you're an actor, then you should fucking dip your toe in everything, not just one style. Which is why I always got pissed off that Jackie Chan only ever did action movies. I would love to see him in a film where he never threw a fucking punch, but he can act. You know what I mean?
Oh, look at what was that film he did with Pierce Brosnan? I forget what it's called.
Yeah, The Foreigner. That was
The
superb. That
Foreigner.
was one of his great performances.
That's my favorite
And it
film of
was
his because
yeah,
it was a serious role.
and it was a serious role. It was action as well, but it made sense. What they did with him, and I think I was like, where was this Jackie Chan? Like everything he did was always had the comedic side to it, and it just like I understand he was like paying homage to Buster Keaton and all of these sort of guys, but still, like there's more to being an actor than just being that sort of style all the time. And
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think the person that got it right and pivoted at the right time in their career, even though I'm not like the biggest fan of those, is Jim Carrey. So
Hmm.
Jim Carrey, because at that point in time he was everywhere, and there was, you know, the rumblings of people just going to get sick of him, and his comedies were going to flop, and he pivoted at the height of his career to Man of the Moon.
I'll give you one better.
1 second, yeah, the Man of the Moon, and what was that Ron Howard film, The Truman Show, and things like that. And he did the right thing, because I loved his serious stuff. His comedic stuff was getting very tiresome. But yeah, Zam.
Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was a comedic actor for a long time. People forget, and then he did Philadelphia, and then honestly, he never looked back after that. I don't think he did a comedy role since. I mean, like, this guy did The Burbs, and he did one of my all-time favorites. It might be a bit dated now if you watch it, but fucking Bachelor Party, man. Oh my god, Bachelor Party is so
Have you
good.
seen that, Winnie?
I have not. I came into Tom Hanks in Toy Story because I was little, so I never really, like, those other movies were too old for me. I know you're only a couple years older than me, Zam, but they were. I was
I'm a bit older than that. But like this was during the period of like the 80s sort of raunchy sex comedies, like your Porky's and stuff like that, and you know, Weird Science and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, Bachelor Party is, oh man, there's a couple of scenes in that film that I'm thinking about still. You know what I mean?
One of the ones,
the butt kiss and all of that. Yeah. Oh my god.
Where he taps the pimp on the shoulder and it's this little Indian guy goes, "Hey,
Yeah,
bro, what do you need? If you don't pay, this is my friend
Oh
Milk."
my gosh.
Milk comes along, like this 8 foot tall. It's such just brilliant calamity with a donkey that overdoses on drugs.
Yeah. He's doing the fucking cocaine.
Yeah. They bring like a donkey like sex show to the party.
Yeah, they're gonna do bestiality as part of the show, and
oh my
and
god!
before it happens, this donkey fucking gets so high on there's all these drugs around, and the donkey's just like fucking snorting all the cocaine and overdoses on it, and
and they have to like lower it out the window to get it out.
Oh my gosh!
It's so fucking.
It's honestly, it is just 80s calamity at its best. It's such a great film.
I love it. And Tom Hanks, like I said, you know, like, and then you remind yourself how good of a comedic actor Tom Hanks is when he was on Saturday Night Live playing the MAGA guy, and he's like, yeah, this guy's, you know, he's still got it, man. He's still got it. And there are films where he does show some of his comedic moments, whether it be in that, what's it, not Runaway,
Terminal.
No, the Terminal, Catch Me If You Can, and the one where he's on the island on his own. Castaway, yeah. And there are comedic moments in those films, but they're not comedies in general. But when he does a comedy like Dragnet, Turner and Hooch, which is a bit more family friendly and stuff like that, and all of that sort of stuff, yeah, like the guy is absolutely hilarious. You know, like Tom Hanks, brilliant. Yeah,
great actor. So yeah, we went off on a nice little tangent. That was going to be about Gene Hackman, but rest in peace, Gene Hackman. Hopefully,
rest in peace.
It was just accidents and nothing more serious than that. But the bigger tragedy is Michelle Trachtenberg, who was only 39 years old. That's way. Yeah, known for Buffy. I didn't watch Buffy, so I didn't know her from Buffy.
She played Buffy's sister.
Right.
Younger sister. Yeah. I used to be really into Buffy.
Trip and just falling in love with her in Eurotrip. I was like, oh my god, who's this? Stunning. But yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about it, and then
No,
I love her. She was in she did a lot of Disney stuff, and I was a Disney kid. But I also watched Buffy, and she was, I think Dawn was her name. I haven't watched Buffy for 20 years, but like everything she was ever in was amazing. There was this movie though on Disney. It was called I think Ice Queen, where she was a math genius and a figure skater. Like she also wanted to be a figure skater, but her family was like, nah, you're good at math. You have to go to college and do all this. But she was trying to say, I could pay for college if you with ice skating. And I just hold that movie to my heart because like in school, like I was doing, and when I was a freshman in high school, I was doing like college level math where everybody else was just doing algebra. And I remember that movie because everybody like was making fun of me at that time. So I was like, I just felt for her because I was like sort of similar. But yeah, so I really hold a special place for her in my heart. I think she had like she just got her liver replaced or trans whatever you call it,
Liver
and
transplant.
yeah, transplant, and she couldn't
Oh, I
like
didn't know that.
it didn't hold up, and so that really
Oh,
sucks, and it really sucks too because I'm 36. That could be me at any time. She was
yeah.
too young to die.
Oh shit! I didn't know that about the that she had a liver transplant. I know she had a
Mhm.
lot of health problems,
Mhm.
but I thought it was like a kind of knock on because she suffered quite a bit of abuse as well.
Yeah. No, this
Through.
was from her liver transplant, as far as I read.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's terrible. And yeah, 39 is just no fucking age. No
Yeah,
age.
it's nothing at all.
Yeah, and
You
she seemed
know,
like in a good place and all that. Like she was always posting
Mhm.
on her social medias and that. I remember the only thing I remember, the big standout I remember was like about Buffy was there was a rule on set: do not leave Joss Whedon alone with her, and she was like
Mhm.
holy
no way
shit,
at
yeah,
the
just
time.
reading, yeah.
Yeah. He was a real piece of shit, Joss Whedon.
Right.
But I'm not going to make this about him. This is about the tragic loss of somebody who went through the ringer in the Hollywood system and came out the
Mhm.
other side, and sadly, yeah, fuck, I didn't know about the liver thing. I didn't read
Yeah.
any further to it, but yeah, that's no age. But on a so if anyone hasn't got anything else to talk about with Michelle Trachtenberg, I can move on to the next death.
Ugh. This was
So
like a
Please.
whole week,
now,
wasn't it?
yes,
Damn.
No, I got nothing to add.
No,
You
I
know,
just
don't
I
yeah.
love her. I loved her.
so we also had the death of Roberto Orci, and if you know your producers and you hate your producers, you will know who this guy is. This guy is the producer and writer for the Transformers films and the Star Trek films. So
Oh,
yes,
that's why they all
real
suck. Oh,
yes.
sorry.
No, that's fine. He was a terrible producer. He was I don't know if he was a shitty person. I can't comment on what kind of a person he was. And I joked about it, saying, "Oh, some good news. The producer died." Obviously, it's not nice. It was only 51. But
Oh.
my God, this guy produced some absolute fucking stinkers, and that's kind of why I want to highlight it, and why I loathe producers. So Roberto Orci, the writer producer behind the late 2000s reboots of Star Trek and Transformers, and creator of Fringe. I suppose that's the one good thing he did.
Oh,
Uh,
I did like that.
yeah, that was good. But hey, every turd has a nugget of gold in it. Died on Tuesday in LA from but again, sadly, kidney disease.
Uh.
Yeah, so with partner Alex Kurtzman, Orci co-wrote projects including 2007's Transformers, Star Trek, and he also did Now You See Me franchise, awful franchise, Ender's Game, god awful, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, as well as credits on Mission Impossible 3. That's just a producer credit. I don't know how much he had thing, and the shitty reboots of Hawaii Five-O, Sleepy Hollow, which was bloody awful, and Fringe, which was the one good thing that he actually did. So I don't need to go into further stuff like that. But oh, hang on. No, I didn't read this. But in August 2004, he was accused in a lawsuit of beating and sexually assaulting as well. Okay, so he was a piece of shit then.
Oh.
Hail Caesar actor Adele Heather Taylor. In the suit, she alleged that Orchie was a bipolar alcoholic who would fly into fits of violence, so a typical Hollywood producer then. And Taylor's lawsuits was in response to a suit filed by Orchie that June. In the suit, he alleged that Taylor had repeatedly assaulted him and during his battle with alcoholism, manipulated him for financial gain. Orchie spokesperson Sally Hoffenheimer at the time said Miss Taylor's counterclaim is an attempt to retaliate against her husband with fabricated allegations after he got a restraining order against her, filed for divorce, and sued her in June for assault, battery, violence, and abusing. Oh, okay. So I take that back then. Maybe yes. So maybe she was the one, and we've heard about retaliatory kind of lawsuits. It's what derailed a wrestler's career who basically he had just won the tag titles, and his ex accused him of assault and rape, and he got kicked out of the WWE, and it turned out it was a load of bollocks. So I won't speculate further on that if that is the case. But
which wrestler?
he's nothing. He's not a big wrestler, but he just won like the NXT tag titles with his partner. They were a really good tag team. I forget his name now, but I just remember because the day after he won the tag titles, his ex basically made accusations against him, which were completely fabricated and debunked within like seconds. And he's with another wrestler now called Gigi Dolin, and yeah, they're engaged. And yeah, she also said it's a lot of bollocks. So I don't know where it all came from. So there's always that. So I won't speculate further on that guy's death, but he produced a lot of stinkers. So fuck him. You know what I mean? Kiss my
I was
ass.
just saying to Chris that he was like, he's making me watch all the Marvel stuff right now. God shoot me. No offense to those that love them, but we're going through. We started Daredevil, the TV show last night. And he was like, "Look how great this is, and how great the cinema." I'm like, no. Anyway, I was like, and another thing, who the hell ruined Transformers? And now I know.
Now you know who ruined Transformers. And I got full disclosure here. I fell out with two friends over Transformers, online friends. So you know, because they thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, and I was just like, oh,
There's
it's
not even any story anymore.
No, it was awful. It was straight out of an 80s playbook of have a kid in there, the kid befriends a robot, and they're out in the little suburbs, all this shit. And like, no, I hate them. And it was Michael Bay making them, which made it even fucking worse. So I hate them all. They're all shit. You know, mind you, I've watched 3 of them. I ain't watching any more. I don't know how many they made. I think 7. They've made 7 so far. But that's endemic of like Orchie is exactly the kind of garbage that destroyed Paramount Pictures because they saw the success of Transformers Transformers, and they thought, yes, let's just make it all dumb, stupid shit like that, and that's how you end up with dumb, stupid reboot of Star Trek and dumb, stupid other shit that he's tried, and it's just I couldn't sit through a Marvel product. You have my sympathy. God, you people are just savages. Savages.
Like I keep telling them, like, it's the same thing. This movie is the same thing. Oh wait, they tell another boring story, and then it's the same thing.
Yes, I mean, to be fair, you're not wrong. They all followed the same format. The Marvel format, it always had the same format. And then after Guardians Galaxy, they ramped that format up even more so to the point where Infinity War was a fucking welcome relief because everything else had become so fucking generic at that point that it was the welcome relief. So I can understand your frustrations.
I was showing him some of my comic books, and not all of them were Marvel, but from like when I was a kid, 1996-ish, and like how amazing these stories were and how like far departed that we are in our comic book movies now. It's ridiculous.
Wait, what comic books were you showing them?
I don't know. I have a bunch.
Marvel or random?
They were some that were not Marvel. Some of them were old Batman. Some of them were old, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, like a lot of people scoff at 90s kind of Marvel comics. I'm like, fuck you, man. We had some great stories there. You know, we had Fatal Attractions. We had Jim Lee's run of X-Men.
Fatal Attractions was one of them I was showing him. But they were so much better. Like, I don't know what happened when Disney took over, but it sucks.
It's the same thing that happened with everything. You see, Disney has never respected its writers. Never. And it's never paid them any good kind of money. So they lost a lot of good writers. Also, Ike Perlmutter wanted to pivot everything in the comics towards the films after the success of the MCU, and that derailed everything. And so now Marvel Comics, you try to read Marvel Comics now, and everything sounds the fucking same. It is absolutely abysmal. Everyone dick rides Jonathan Hickman like he's like a godsend. I'm like, no, his Fantastic Four was good, but the rest of his stuff is just bloated, convoluted horseshit for pretentious wankers, and they fucking love his stuff, and I can't stand Jonathan Hickman. And he's like cock of the roost, but for me, cock of the roost is Chip Zdarsky, who is, read his Daredevil run, phenomenal. That's a proper comic book writer, and yeah, but overall, Marvel, like you can't read X-Men. You can't. It's unreadable. The last good run the X-Men had was under Quesada when they did the Second Coming in the Messiah Complex and things like that. So yeah, have you ever read the comic book Saga?
No, I have not.
It's Image Comics. You got
I pretty much went to like Japanese manga and then never looked back. So
Oh, I see. Oh, I don't blame you. But yeah, check out Saga.
I will.
It's been going on for about a decade now. It's really good. How they not made a film?
I'm down to try new things that are also good. So
yeah, no, it's really good. There's also Jupiter's Legacy, which they tried to make into a shitty Netflix series, but it was completely.
I kind of remember that actually.
Yeah, they went from a fantastic comic book to a stupid fucking CW style. Everyone's a mopey little whingy fuckwit. So Cheetah didn't like it, and it was god awful. That's why they cancelled it after one series.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah. Anyway, that's enough about comic books. But this transitions us. Speaking of hack producers, there's a rumor swirling and subsequently possibly quashed about Kathleen Kennedy stepping down.
Squashed.
It's been quashed. Yeah.
Yeah. Like next thing you know, she's involved in everything again. Like I saw some article about that, but yeah. So I think I don't think it's I don't think it was true.
No. Got any other news?
No. Like I know very little about this about this rumor being false. Just the fact that everyone was talking about it, yet Star Wars Theory talking about it, and just to tangent a little bit, Star Wars Theory is complaining that he's not he's not being invited to certain Star Wars sort of like media events and stuff like that. That's because he hangs around with fascists. Yeah. And that's why you're not being invited, you fucking twat.
Is that the guy that cried?
The bold guy.
Huh?
Yeah, the bold guy.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
he's the one who cried. I did like him, but then he started hanging around with all the fucking fascist YouTubers, and I thought, yeah, fuck him. You know what I mean? If that's who he's going to be with, but regardless, regardless, he was going on about it. I saw a thumbnail about him going on about it, and then next, I see thumbnails saying that she's not fucking going anywhere, and so. I never really gave a shit because I don't give a shit about Star Wars like I once did. I'm gonna watch, So regardless who's at the helm, I'm gonna watch fucking Andor. Hopefully, it'll be very good. It looks very good, and then I'm gonna see what goes on after that, and that's about it.
Yeah, Willie.
It's her quote. I was just looking up her quotes again. It says, the truth is, and I just want to say loud and clear that I'm not retiring. I will never retire from movies. I will die making movies. It doesn't say anything about Star Wars. And then if you go down a little bit, it says, she says, what's happening at Lucasfilm is I've been talking for quite some time with Bob Iger and Alan Fine about what eventual succession might look like. We have an amazing bunch of people here, and we have every intention of making an announcement months or a year down the road. So it's not happening tomorrow, but it probably will happen in a year or two, is what I'm understanding from this.
Well, the damage has been done, to be perfectly honest. I don't think it's like the free fall, even with MCU, which the producers are on good standing and all this kind of stuff. The films have been such bollocks that they're in free fall now. So even with Star Wars, I've talked about it 2 weeks ago when we last did the show, that some franchises are just either in free fall or rarely recover. And obviously you don't want to let something like the MCU die because of the limitless potential. It's not like Terminator, Alien, and Predator where you can only do the same fucking story over and over again. But in terms of like that, and Star Wars, limitless potential, but the damage has been done. And unless you get somebody like Tony Gilroy in, who's an adult and not a fucking dickhead, because I've got to be honest as well. I don't like David Filoni at all. I don't like him, and I don't like Jon Favreau either. Their stuff is mediocre. But you look at Filoni, Filoni had everyone by the balls, and I wouldn't be surprised if Andor Series 2 actually has a higher viewership than the Series 1, because not many people did. But it was the only show that got more viewers as it went along, because the buzz grew for it
Mm-hmm.
with the Andor series. And the trailer, I don't normally do the trailers because I'm just like, oh, when it's something I like, I want to go in fresh. But I had to watch it, and it looks really good. But he's the only adult in the bloody room. The other three are just mediocre fuckwits, if
Right.
I'm being perfectly honest. So yeah, if you're going to give the franchise over to anyone, it has to be Gilroy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
it says she's producing the Mandalorian movie and then Sean Levy's movie, which is after that. And then that's probably when we'll see somebody else.
Oh,
So hopefully.
hopefully that will be the end of it, because she's been among the worst. But again, I've said it a million times. I hate producers. They don't add any artistic value. They're just idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you get a rare one like Kevin Feige and things like that, who not only knows what they're doing, but knows what they want out of something, rather than just fan service, fan service, fan service. Then you get that. Obviously, they've resorted during the the Chapek era of doing all the stupid fan service stuff, and we just got Deadpool and Wolverine to kind of cash grab and things like that. But for the most part, we've just had a continually good story, because the guy, that's where he got his start. He's a comic book guy. He's not a film guy.
Mm-hmm.
But the transition was great. But you get people like Kennedy who, number one, don't respect the audience, don't know who the audience are, and don't fucking know anything about art. They just somebody who knows to get what they want, because that's what she was renowned for, getting what she wants for, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
you end up with dog shit and rewrites.
Right.
And so, yeah. But the sooner she goes, the better. Hello, that's One Girl 9. Welcome to the stream. Okay, on to the next one. We have producer Kennedy Star Wars. Oh, wait, did I have one more thing? I think I had one more thing. Oh, yes, I did. There was a couple of things here with James Gunn and the DC slates, which I'll quickly go through that. Bear with me. All right. Get that up.
Are you not going to actually? Before you do that, let's talk about Amazon and James Bond.
Oh yeah, well why not? Fuck it. Yeah, because we haven't had
Now,
a chance to think about it.
Because I made a video on it, and I'm seeing doom and gloom fucking everywhere, and I understand, but at the same time, I think sometimes a particular franchise needs sometimes a fresh start, and maybe to go a different direction, because let's face it, James Bond is just been one movie after the other, and with similar threads and stuff like that, and there is definitely a universe there, and I think that's what people want to expand upon. Now, the idea of that doesn't necessarily appeal to everyone. They just want a single film about James Bond and his adventures. But if Amazon does take it on board, it might not necessarily be a movie we'll be getting in the future. It could be, a 12-episode series with him gallivanting all over the world, globetrotting here and there, fucking everything on sight, blowing up everything, gadgets galore, this, that, and the other. Sounds interesting in that particular aspect. Maybe we'll get 00 movies where it's not to do with 007. It could be with 003 or 009 or whatever. Something along those lines. Maybe we could see prequels and sequels and character studies of Major Boothroyd, who is the original Q, something like that, or M. M being a 00 agent before becoming M, something along those lines. A Blofeld thing, or the origin story of Jaws, and all of these sort of characters, and there's just so much there that can happen. I don't want young James Bond cartoons. I've already seen James Bond Jr. and I didn't really appreciate it that much.
James Bond Jr.
You know what I mean?
For the win.
James Bond Jr. fighting crime all over the world. Yeah, I remember that. With with IQ instead of Q. You know, I remember all
Yeah.
of that shit.
I
Anyways,
had the car
so
and
yeah,
two of the figures. I had IQ and James Bond Jr.
now the Phantom Menace people are already thinking, oh no, they're gonna feminize Bond and this, that, and the other. Look, Bond has changed over the years. People think Bond is misogynistic. I don't think Bond is misogynistic. In recent Bond, definitely is not misogynistic whatsoever. And if anything, whatever Bond does, he's always consenting with his female characters. He's
Mm-hmm.
never like gone over the top. He's never like done, they've always wanted it. So I never looked at it like that. I think he respects a lot of his female characters when they have other things to offer than just their vag, when he needs them for whatever it may be, like lady, what I mean, like Dr. Goodhead. Her name is hilarious as well, but she was an astronaut and he needed her help, when it came to
Mm-hmm.
Moonraker and stuff like that. There's like, so regardless, I would love to see variations of Bond. You wanted Henry Golding to do it as well. Yeah, James Bond under a new ownership, new directions, fresh start. I'm very much up for this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to
As
see what
long as they
Amazon
do it right. I
people.
love James Bond. Like, that's always been one of my favorite things,
Yeah.
and I can't agree with you more. He's not just a misogynistic a-hole. He's pretty okay. Like, he does
He's
everything.
respectful.
Yeah, he's respectful. He does
Yeah.
everything by the book, like you should. So I think those are just like those uber feminists that never actually watched it, maybe. And as I
He
probably
cares
wouldn't
for
even live with
people.
them, but
He genuinely cares for people. He wants to
Mhm.
do the right. That's why he's the hero as
Yes,
well. But
Brittany.
just to go on to Amazon a little bit. Amazon have done a lot of good stuff recently. I mean, this is not Disney we're talking about. These are the people who've done
Correct.
The Boys, which is superb. Invincible. Season 2 wasn't that great, but season 3 is fantastic.
No spoilers. I haven't watched it
No,
yet.
no spoilers whatsoever. Fallout was great. They've done.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, they also have Lord of the Rings, unfortunately, but that's one dud out of, like you say, like The Boys. And,
Season 2 was
you know,
season 2 was a little bit better, and there's another series as well which just escapes my mind. They've done recently, which is I forgot what it was, but they've done some movies as well here, there, and everywhere. By the way, Winnie and Ginge, watch Elevation. It's not bad with Anthony Mackie. I recommend it. It's a
Okay.
good popcorn flick. It's
okay.
definitely worth watching. But so yeah, they've got some good stuff under their belt. Amazon has. So let's see what they do with a proper franchise now, which is already established and something that they have to start from scratch with, if you know what I mean. So it'll be
Mhm.
interesting to see what they do. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm with you too. I'm a huge James Bond fan. I absolutely loved the franchise. There's been more duds of late than there has been successes, but so there's an interesting thing. So I'll send you guys a video. There is a guy who's uploaded the commentary that was over some of the films before the producers kind of shot it down. So they're doing, like, when you used to get DVD and you have like director commentary and all of that.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of that, and basically you can hear from the
Hi,
producers and
Mike.
directors that were really pissed off that they had to tone down the sexism from the books, because at the time there was the whole feminist movement going along. So
Mhm.
just to be perfectly clear, James Bond is a very fucking misogynistic and sexist franchise in terms of the books, but
Right.
they had to tone it down for the films. And then it just didn't resonate with the audience either, to kind of have the Fleming stuff from the books onto the
Mhm.
TV stuff when you had all these like movements. And I think for me, like Timothy Dalton, just they put a stop to that under the Dalton era, who made two of my favorite Bond films, and that. But I'm not happy. I'm not happy that Amazon own the franchise, but I'm happy the Broccoli's no longer on the franchise, because they're again another set of producers that are fucking frustrating to deal with. They're always shooting everything down. They have a certain way they want to do things, and it doesn't work anymore. And it's just, like if you look at Pierce Brosnan stuff and Daniel Craig's stuff, most of it is just hot garbage, right? And Nick Brosnan stuff. I fucking hate most of his stuff. I think I only like Tomorrow Never Dies. That was it.
Tomorrow Never Dies is awesome, and you know what?
Yeah.
For me, I think the film started to go downhill from the beginning, but look, I'm gonna do this. I'm already announcing this right now. When it comes to a film everybody hates but I love, I like Die Another Day. I don't
I
care what
liked
people
it
say.
too.
I like Die Another Day. It's stupid. It's corny. It's a throwback to the Roger Moore era.
So I'm doing this stream on my own now because these two are absolute savages, like in one of literally the worst James Bond films ever made. Now,
Well, not just that, but every in my opinion, every Pierce Brosnan movies, his four films have the best opening Bond sequences of all the Bond movies. Especially Tomorrow Never Dies. The opening for that is fantastic.
And I think it's supposed to be cheesy and camp. Like that's what I loved about it. Like it was a good like change up for these movies. So
I think I'm gonna vomit. But that film is why they ended up doing the reboot and with Daniel Craig and bringing it back. Now, to be fair to Daniel Craig, I liked Casino Royale and I did like what's that one with a weird name? The second one, the follow up.
Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
yes.
I like that as well. And there was the one that everyone lords over as well, which was fantastic. But then he had like Spectre and another one after that, which were terrible. Is it Tomorrow Never Dies?
He's done five. They've done five. Yeah.
There were No Time to Die was after Spectre.
Yeah. I'll give you them in order: Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die.
Yeah. So the last two were terrible, but the other three I really
like No Time to Die, man. I thought No Time to Die was a homage to all the Bond movies, and I appreciate it, but it was done quite well. Yeah, so
Amazon to buy it, you absolute savage. But I said, no, okay, that's fair enough. Again, I'm not here to crap on people's personal preference. I'm just having fun with that. But again, there is a thing. Okay, I don't want Amazon owning it, but it's not a bad thing because it can't be that much worse than where the franchise is now. And like you guys say, there is a lot of potential there. You could do prequels and spin-offs. And I'm sorry, but the Bond universe is a fascinating one, and it's not just about James. There's a whole load of other people there that you want to know about. There's Q, there's M's, there's there's other 00, like with 006, what made him turn and all that.
Yeah, Money Penny and the villains as well, and
the villains
focus, and all of that. This is whole universe of espionage and everything.
You could also have like one series that's a comedy series, like a good throwback to the kind of campy 60s and all this kind of stuff as well, which could go down well. So
I was actually thinking I wouldn't mind them making a period Bond movie make a modern day film but set in the 60s.
I want that. That's what I'm more than anything. I want ones that are set back in the 60s for sure.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm all for it. It can't be worse than what the franchise is now. And Bezos is a huge James Bond fan as well, and of course he is because he loves Stavros Blofeld because he is fucking Stavros Blofeld.
No, he is fucking Lex Luthor, dude.
He's a mixture of the pair of them.
Yeah.
So yes, yeah, I'm all for it. I'll see what they do. Like you said, Fallout. My God, what a show that was. The Boys, brilliant. Invincible, brilliant. So
and if Amazon owns MGM, which I think they do, then From the TV show was brilliant.
Which TV show? Oh yeah, From.
It's called From. That's amazing, and I can't wait.
Reacher. Reach is the other one.
Yeah.
I forgot. I knew there was another one. Reach is the other one, and I haven't. I'm going to wait for season 3 to complete before I start watching it, because they're bringing out weekly. But yeah,
fantastic. Okay, all right. We can transition slightly into James Gunn. So it's another kind of executive.
James Gunn.
Yay.
So DC Studios updates. 2 Batman films a possibility. Teen Titans live action film. And Penguin Season 2 and why James Gunn posted a photo with Zack Snyder. So I haven't actually read this article. I thought I'd leave it for the stream. Word deja vu, exclaimed DC co-chief Peter Safran. He stepped inside a modest screening room and fuck off! I don't need all this. Right. The duo returned to deliver their first official update of the slate, rough update. So it's weird sitting here because it does feel like no time has passed, and yet so much has happened. We look so much older. Oh, fuck off. Okay, right. A lot has happened with DC in just 2 years. Gunn is deep in post production on Superman, the first DC Studios movie, which he wrote and directed while simultaneously working on post season 2 of the Max series Peacemaker. Okay, and also the halfway through production of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow with Millie Alcock. And production has, sorry,
I said, "Oh no."
yeah, exactly. And production has started on the Green Lanterns HBO series, The Lanterns, with Carl Chandler and Aaron Pierre.
Aaron Pierre is British, by the way, and
Yeah.
he's absolutely ideal to play. God, the Green Lantern Jones. What the fuck is it? The John Jones.
No.
Yeah,
John Stewart.
John Stewart. Yeah, sorry.
And
Yeah,
he is a fucking beautiful man as well. So just one for you.
personally,
ladies.
I could see him playing Cyborg. Personally,
that is a very beautiful
That would be
man.
perfect.
Yes.
But he's playing John Stewart, a young John Stewart. It's weird, but got, yeah.
Which
I thought
he's not black enough to play John Stewart, but we'll let that slide.
I always thought someone like I always looked at John Stewart as Green Lantern as more of a veteran character, like somebody who's got some years under his belt, who took on the mantle in his 40s or 50s. And somebody like Idris Elba would have been ideal, in my personal opinion. But
no more Idris Elba. I'm sick and tired of Idris Elba. Like I can't with Idris Elba, man. I'm glad they've gone with a younger actor in this regard, because Idris Elba's taking up all the black roles, man. It's not fair on other black actors. God damn it. Anyway, he's playing Man at Arms in the He-Man film.
Oh fuck yeah,
that would be amazing.
That He-Man film's not looking too great to start with, dude. I'm a bit worried. He's got that quirky Americanness, we all fucking hate. It's really worrying me, man. It's really worrying me.
If they go camp comedic with it, it could work. But if they don't, and they take the comedy too serious and quippy and quirky, then kill me now.
No, I wanted to take itself a bit seriously. I want to take itself seriously with some comic relief characters like Orko and stuff like that. But even Orko has got a reason to him than just being a comic relief. He's a magician, and I wanted to take itself a bit seriously. A little bit like how it was under Dolph Lundgren, who played it straight. By the way, he never fucked around. He played it straight, totally.
What are you doing?
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so along with those updates, over the course of an hour, Gunn and Safran held forth on several topics, including the status of their initial slate of 5 films, including Batman: The Brave and the Bold and The Authority, and 5 TV series, including Waller. Nobody wants that. Booster Gold could be interesting, as well as confirmation of about a handful of upcoming projects, including the film about Batman villain Clayface. They've got an interesting director attached to this project. He was the one that did that James McAvoy film.
Split. Split.
Not Split. It was just came out last year.
Oh dang! Because that would be fantastic for Clayface.
Yeah. But no, it's not. I mean, unless he did that as well. There's an animated series about Blue Beetle. Who the fuck wants that? And the future of Sergeant Rock movie. Now that
Sergeant Rock,
Sergeant Rock, which was going to be with Daniel Craig, but he's pulled out. Fuck me, James Gunn is picking some of the absolute worst obscure characters that nobody gives a shit.
Yeah,
Sergeant Rock. Who the fuck is like?
That's what I was thinking.
Who the fuck are you? I mean,
Sergeant Rock. kiss my ass.
It's like he's
Saffron
being
noted
it's that hipster thing where they like, I have to know the most obscure thing about a thing that makes me look so cool, but in all reality it makes you look like an idiot because nobody gives a shit about Sergeant Rock.
Yeah, exactly. Spot on. Saffron noted that DC Studios is ultimately aiming to release just 2 live-action films and 1 animated. What the hell's animated? 1 animated film per year, and 2 live-action and 2 animated TV series per year. Good lord! But the executive also reiterated the overall philosophy guiding their creative choices, namely that no project will get greenlit until Gunn and Safran are satisfied with a completed screenplay. That's actually a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want a screenplay before you say, we're going to make a film about the donkey in the far left corner of that Superman comic panel, and then we'll work around it. Because, it's James Gunn, so we're going obscure characters here. So at least they're saying they'll get a script first, which is how Clayface actually came to be. So it said here, it's almost impossible making a film with a script that you're writing on the run. This is why, for example, they greenlit Clayface on the strength of Mike Flanagan's screenplay, even though, as Gunn said, we had no plans on making a Clayface film. So somebody that they know just came along with a Clayface script, they read it and they're like, yeah, we'll do that. I mean, that's how it should be, rather than just say, we'll make a film about this and then work around it. So, yeah. This approach stands in pointed contrast with DC Studios' obvious counterpart, Marvel, which has quite famously announced many movies and their release dates without anything close to a finished script. But this is an issue that Gunn and Safran first raised in 2023, and Gunn has repeated it several times since on social media in general. Blah blah blah. Okay, we don't need the details. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so go on to the Batman stuff.
I
So
just,
go
I
on,
just
Sam.
want to say regarding Clayface, like I'm not saying he's supernatural, but he's the most I can't. I'm trying to think of the sort of terminology here. Like some of the villains feel very much down to earth. Clayface is a very very unique character, and I have no problem with Clayface being on the big screen and all of that. But for this particular type of Batman, he just feels a bit too
He's not going to be
fabulous
tied to that. Oh, well, maybe I don't know. They're a bit
to
iffy on the
we're talking to Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah, I
He
know
just
what you
feels
mean.
he feels a bit too extravagant.
Yeah.
Of a character. Like you see what they've done with Penguin. They just made him a guy who hobbles, and that's the only thing that makes him. Obviously, they put him in a tuxedo now and stuff like that, but he's still. Yeah, but even that's passable and plausible. Clayface is basically a fucking shapeshifter. Who know what I mean? Like, it's very unusual for a character like that to be in this universe of Batman,
Yeah.
regardless of him being part of the Rogue Gallery.
But I definitely want to see him in a film. If he's a separate Batman universe, like the James Gunn Batman universe, which is the possibility.
That I can see him in. I can see him in that.
Sorry.
Yeah, I can see him in obviously wherever Batman comes out of the Superman universe. Fair enough, that works for me. You know what I mean? But not in Robert Pattinson's, in my opinion.
I agree.
But I'll give it. But regardless, I'll give it a shot. See how it goes.
Oh, here we go. So, X-Men, blah, 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 blah. Right. First up, Clayface. Safran confirmed that British director James Watkins' Speak No Evil. That's it. Is in talks to direct what he characterized as a body horror film. So a bit like The Substance.
Oh.
Which could be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Gud said they hope works as a pure horror movie for somebody who doesn't care at all about DC. So they're talking about James Watkins. He doesn't care about DC, so he's trying to work it as a pure horror film, which could work really, really well. And I think that's a great direction to go with. They plan to start shooting, blah, blah, blah. So obviously they're just talking about the casting here. It's not going to be Alan Tudyk because they want to keep the same characters they have in the animated universe in the kind of film universe as well to keep that consistency. But with Alan Tudyk, who voices Clayface in 2 of the DC animated films, he won't be doing because he does it in Harley Quinn as well. But they're going to pick somebody completely different, which I think is fine. No, I wouldn't mind Alan Tudyk playing Clayface. I think it's great. Okay. Safran offered a brief update on the Batman Part 2, saying that writer-director Matt Reeves is yet to turn in a full script. What we've read so far is incredibly encouraging. That's why they've pushed the film back to 2027. They had even less to say about the possibility of a second season of the spin-off for the Penguin, with Colin Farrell, who's, basically saying that... the Penguin with Colin Farrell. Following the release of Part 2, we don't know, Safran said there are a lot of moving pieces, probably most important, Colin himself, and 800 pounds of makeup, gun added, alluding to the extensive prosthetic Farrell had to wear for the role. DC Studio also remains active development on Batman the Brave and the Bold, the film made to bring the Dark Knight into the main DC universe. Isn't that the one with like Robin in it as well? God, it just sounds awful. That story is coming together nicely, and yeah.
Yeah, Daniel Vance. Yeah, I saw that interview too. He's obviously in a hurry, but trust me, you pull out those dollar bills, y'all. You know what I mean? We'll see how much. Yeah, I mean, it's all about the Benjamins, baby. I know, obviously, Colin Farrell is probably very financially well off. Hold on, Mr. Systems, but you pay the guy well enough, and he'll happily do. But right now, so someone like Colin Farrell could ask where the fuck he wants. Right now, he done that great a job. He's in a really good position. So
yeah, but I don't think he's in a rush to go back to it because of the process.
Will he be in Batman 2? By the way, I'm sure he will be.
That's the thing. I don't know.
Regardless of season 2, I mean that's a lot of work he has to do. But let's just hope that they can improve on the prosthetic process between now and the next time he has to put on that makeup.
Yeah, absolutely. But okay, so animation, dynamic duo Blue Beetle, and 3 new TV series. As first reported in October, DC Studios is in pre-production on the animated film The Dynamic Duo. I have no idea what the hell that is. Oh, it's about 2 Robins who fought alongside Batman. It's about Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. It provides a kind of perfect on-ramp family audiences. Oh, fuck off. It just sounds like more
family audiences on a Batman project.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. Fuck off.
The studio is also still in active development on an animated series about the Blue Beetle. I'm going to go past that. They also announced that they greenlit 3 younger skewing animated series, all overseen by executive producer, blah, blah, blah. My Adventures with Green Lantern will follow high school student Jessica Cruz, who has her life upended when, according to an official logline, a Green Lantern powering falls from the sky and chooses Cruz to be its champion. Things get even worse when debris from the Lantern's ancient space war arrives, along with their alien foes. Jake White, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, that's more like a, younger audience thing. That's fine. DC Superpowers takes place at the Alliance School for Heroes and focuses on new students Lightning, Flash, Plastic Man, oh god, so it's just like an X-Men type thing, and level up their powers under the supervision
New school for superpowers.
Yeah.
Kill me now.
Well, I think again it's one of those kind of shitty kids animated stuff.
We're talking Kid Flash. I don't think it'll be the original Flash or the Jay Garrett. It won't be. So it's not going to be Wally West. It's going to be.
It might be Wally West.
If it's like that Teen Titans Go, Shoot Me Now, because that's awful.
Something along those kind of lines. Because Plastic Man, Plastic Man's Plastic Man. He's the same age as the Flash, and then you've got Green Lantern and Terra and all this kind of shit. It just sounds awful. Finally, we have Starfire, which serves as an origins for the fan favorite types of character, perhaps best known for a role in Teen Titans. The show follows her adventure after she uses an ancient spaceship to discover on her home planet of Tamarin to escape her planet and explore the stars. Along the way, she'll meet space biker Crush, plant-loving Fern, and magical princess. Okay, so it's just all like, it's just kid stuff.
Who the fuck is Crush? Is he Lobo related?
No, I don't know. Again, it's these fucking weird, obscure characters from the DC universe. Let me quickly do a search with Google on images.
My fat boy.
Oh, thanks.
You're a fat boy.
Let's see. Oh, it's Lobo's daughter. It's Lobo's
No, I
daughter.
knew. Yeah, fucking space bikers and
Yeah, so this one might.
Lobo's the ultimate space biker.
Yeah, this might look like it's geared towards like younger women. That's fine. Whatever. So Sergeant Rock, Teen Titans, another rumored projects. Oh dear God, it just keeps going on and on and on. Oh, fuck this! I can't be asked to read it.
That bad noise was me, by the way. Sorry,
That's all right.
that was me.
I'll move that. So yeah, there's a lot
That
of
fat
stuff
piece
in the
of meat.
pipeline. Whatever Warner Brothers gets made of those remains to be seen because David Zaslav is a very kind of erratic fuckwit who can just at a turn of a dime absolutely just kill projects dead, change his mind, and he's very obsessed about the monetary aspect of it rather than the just allowing the creative thing to flow. And he's got a very short vision on things, which is really frustrating because it's just like, if he smells the wind changes, he's just going to change his mind. He could cancel a project to get his fucking tax rebates. But
Yes.
let's see. It's a very mediocre. If I'm being perfectly honest, what I expected with James Gunn, it's a very mediocre slate of just randomness and characters that a lot of people just aren't gonna uh, appeal with. But let's see. They made Peacemaker work. They might be able to make all the other stuff
Oh,
work.
Peacemaker, that should be coming out this year, surely.
Yeah, they did. They're finishing it up now, so that's on its way. But
I'm
look,
fucking looking forward to that. I had a really good time with that.
yeah, kill me now. But yeah, for the fans, there's plenty there for that coming out. But speaking of Zaslav and Warner Brothers, that brings me on to the death of Monolith Productions and the death of the Wonder Woman game and a couple of other
Oh yeah,
studios. So,
that has really pissed off the entire internet. That
yep.
all of this to bring it on.
So,
Tell me about it.
yeah. So basically, they were working on a Wonder Woman game, and they had to go back and redo it, possibly because it wasn't live service enough. So they had to go reback and make it like more Suicide Squaddy, or the opposite, and get rid of all the live service stuff and make it less Suicide Squaddy. But by that point, they racked up 100 million in costs, and Zaslav just turned around and said, "Nope, fuck this." He's cancelled the project and he's shut down Monolith Studios, who are a fantastic gaming studio. They give us Shadows of Mordor, which was one of my favorite
Yeah.
games. Phenomenal game. They also did Shadow War, which I didn't like at all. But Fear and Condemned as well. So they're a history. They have a history of brilliant games, and they're gone now. That's it. Bye bye. 30
That
years, 35
stinks.
years down the drain, all because of the incompetence of the executives who didn't know what to do with Wonder Woman. They kept changing it. They wanted to implement the Nemesis system, which they patented, and so nobody else has been able to use. And they couldn't get that right, so they changed it to like a friendship system, and they just keep dicking around with this game. And in the end, people have lost their jobs, and there's going to be no Wonder Woman game. There's going to be no Monolith Studios. Rocksteady are just not Rocksteady Studios anymore. They've destroyed that company. They shut down Warner Brothers San Diego, which gave people that whatever multiverse fighting game thingy. They also shut down. There was another studio that did some other stuff as well. As they shut down 3 studios, and they just don't understand the gaming sphere at all. So here we are. Ginger had a change of heart for Peacemaker. Ginger is now a huge. Kiss my ass, Cheeto. Kiss every part of the fattest part of my ass. But yeah,
I can already.
Sorry, go on, Zan.
No, I'm just thinking. Look, regarding how would you make a Wonder Woman game? I mean, you got two. There's 2 elements of her artillery which sticks out the most, and it's the lasso of truth and her bracelets. And obviously, you need to implement.
It's not hard to make. It's not hard to make a Wonder
Yeah,
Woman game. You do an
mate, you
action
could.
adventure game.
And
You
yeah,
know,
it's got to be like, regardless of this live service and shit. Wonder Woman's a single player game. You know,
yeah,
like it's a single player game. You're playing as Diana Prince. You know, you're not playing as the fucking Justice League or anything like that. Use her tools wisely. Like I'll have it in a way that you could use the lasso of truth to extract information. You know, where all the fucking power ups are and shit like that, and you know, and all of that
yeah.
out of
Where the enemy
characters.
bases are, where the boss of
Yeah,
that level is, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
all of
absolutely.
that sort of stuff. And obviously, when it comes to gameplay, like when people are shooting at you, I mean, I've always looked at her as indestructible, like you know, she like
Hmm.
Superman. But obviously, she can use the bracelets to you know to hit to put hit deflect the bullets back at the person shooting at you and
Yeah,
stuff like that, and add that to the gameplay somehow. And obviously whip people, and not just use the lasso of truth as a tool of extracting truth. It's like use it as a weapon, like and climbing up walls and whatever,
yeah.
and whipping people
Traversal,
and throwing
whipping.
people about, spinning them, yeah, and all of that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's a lot you could do. Like there's a lot you can do.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, the game was meant. It was set on Themyscira, and it was obviously before like
really,
guns and all of that. Yeah, so you'd
they
have to
set
like
up kind of scary,
cordialize it
man.
with other female warriors fighting against an invading enemy and all of that. It sounded interesting, but that's where I like. I was happy that it was set in Themyscira, like
Really, I
away from
wanted.
like.
She's an Earth.
No, but
She's
that's
a
what you do for the sequels, Zam. So when you do the first game, it's a bit like Batman. You set it first in the Arkham, keep it nice and contained, and then they moved on to one of the greatest sequel games of all time in Arkham City. They moved it out to the city, and that's what you would do with Wonder Woman. And for me, I would have kind of followed the traits of the film in that the second one would have been set in like the past rather than the present, and it'd just be just a lot more
That's what I
fun.
would have done.
Yeah,
Yeah, regarding this like the sequels and third and fourth sequels, trilogies or whatever, just to keep changing the time period. You can go back and forth different
yeah,
eras. You
absolutely.
know what I mean? You know, like you could do one. The first one can be set during the First World War. The second one could go even further back in time, or you could go present day, depending how you want it, or it could be the 80s like it was in the second movie. You know,
Yeah,
so
but she comes out with a big
yeah,
perm. And
yeah.
lycra kind of leotard does all the aerobic socks and all that kind of shit. Wonder Woman. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of potential there for a good action adventure game, and now we're not going to get nothing. Now we get Bupkis. We get 3 studios that are gone, and
And
I just
the
can't believe
character
$100 million just was for nothing. Like
yeah, 100 million
for a
square
character
squares.
that
you could have
needed
just
a
lit it on fire.
Yep.
yeah, the character that really needed a video game too. I
Hmm.
mean, a character which there's some characters which is a bit complicated. Like how do you make a Flash video game? How do you make a Superman video game? But I think something like Wonder Woman is a bit more grounded, like Batman is, and you can do shit with her compared to some of the other characters.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. The
Yeah.
potential is limitless.
Oh yeah, she can
With
throw a tiara as well. Yeah, yeah, nice one,
yeah,
Cheetah.
and Flash. I mean, the
Yeah.
Flash would have to be a massive fucking open world game. A massive open world game with just I mean
With bullet time moments, you
with
know.
bullet time
Yeah,
fucking running
yeah.
90% of the time and all that. It's not really it wouldn't make an interesting game. Superman again, not that fucking interesting.
Yeah, how do you
It's
make
just
a game about somebody who's indestructible?
yeah. It's like, oh, well, we're getting with kryptonite bullets. I'm like, oh fucking hell, how generic. That kind of stuff. So yeah, but Wonder Woman, lanterns, you can make great games with the lanterns.
Lanterns would be good, but I think it'll be complicated to really. But like the point of the lantern is that his ring could create anything he thinks of.
Yeah.
So how do you implement that in a game where in computer games where it's kind of limited in creating anything you can think of because
Well, yeah, I mean, you'd have to stick to a certain weapon wheel of items that you can use and traversal
yeah.
stuff that you can use and all of that. So it's limited in the scope and budget, but I'm not fussed about that. Like, I don't need him creating a fucking train to kind of run over bad guys. As long as you do a sword, a gun, a hoverboard or a bike, whatever, fly, all that shit, I'll be
Because
happy
it's
with that.
because it's green, I'll be creating myself an Orion sex slave. Nice.
Of course
Yeah,
you would. Yes, I don't think they
might as
can
well.
do that kind of thing, but you know. But yeah, I mean, there's other, like Blue Beetle would make a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Booster Gold, Plastic Man. Plastic Man would be fucking fantastic. You know what I mean? So
Plastic
yeah,
Man there's something there.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude. There's so much, but they just don't know what to do with their DC properties.
yeah.
They need a James Gunn in the gaming verse to kind of take the helm. I'm not saying praising James Gunn. I'm just saying that they need somebody there to kind of overlook all the projects and make sure shit. But the problem is they keep seeing things like Marvel Rivals and they just think, oh, money, money, money. We want that. They don't understand that there are some games you could do that with, and other games you have to bite the bullet and say we're just going to make another fucking Harry Potter type game. You know, not Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy type game where it's just single player driven thing. And I worry about the bloody sequel now and what they do with it, because if the sequel's going to be live service, fucking kill me
Mm-hmm.
now. You know what I mean?
The Cheeto made a comment regarding Hogwarts Legacy. I can see it being like that, in
The
that sort of
lanterns.
style. And Vance has made a
Yeah,
really good the Atom, not just being small but being big as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, that would be great.
that'd be
Honestly,
brilliant.
the Atom would be fantastic. Actually, like every location, like imagine infiltrating places and like being super small and and
Yeah,
going
it'll be
through
a
the
fantastic
tiniest cracks and
stealth game
yeah,
and brawler game. You know what I mean? You get the best
yeah.
of both worlds. But also, you could do a fantastic horror film with not Hellfire. What's his fucking name? John Constantine and things like that. You know, there is so much potential that this is why
Oh,
producers
Constantine
suck
would be
dick,
great.
because they're just so myopic. They don't fucking have the kind of awareness of the potential they have with the property that they own. You know, it's like Disney and Star Wars are just taking a great big fucking huge dump on everything, and they don't know what they're doing with it. And so, at this point in time, if I'm Warner Brothers, I'd say, okay, fuck it, we'll just license it out to other companies and let them do what they want to do with it, because they don't have the competence within themselves to make anything good. So bollocks, because then we're just going to end up with more Batman games. It's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, I love Batman, but Jesus Christ, you know, there's
No
so much.
more.
Yeah, there's no more. How much more Batman do you
Batman
need?
Batman is so overly exposed as like you
Yeah,
would think he's the only fucking DC character
Mm-hmm.
DC has, like Jesus Christ, there's so many other characters you got and you don't give them any time whatsoever. It's always fucking Batman. Always. Ever since
always.
Tim Burton. Actually fuck that, way back to the 60s, with what's his
Yeah,
face? His name was
yeah. It's not, and
escapes me.
because like Batman really fucking explode. Like you have to understand how popular he was in the 80s because of Frank Miller and how huge the comic book became. That's where it
And the
really
animated
took off.
series, dude. The animated series is
And
Yeah,
like
and
I
then
loved the animated
then
series.
you have, yeah, the animated series. Then you also have the Tim Burton films. Then John Peters, the guy who created my hatred for executive producers, then took a great dump on the Tim Burton stuff. But then you had like, so there's always been continue, but Batman's overdone now. It's too much. We've tried the spin-offs as well with Gotham Knights, and that was bloody awful. And it's just time to move on. There's just such a plethora of other characters. If you keep relying on Batman, especially in today's kind of
I do have
uh,
this.
glorious, absolutely glorious.
keep it in
Uh,
that box. About 10 years
yeah,
time, you could buy a house with it.
if
I
you
hope
keep
so.
if you keep fucking relying on billionaire trust fund kid in today's kind of environment, it's just gonna run thin. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I want to see proper heroes, not billionaire trust fund kid that beats
I
up the
think
damn
that's why the
children.
original Joker did so well, because we're tired of like the rich people always winning,
Yeah,
and the Joker was like really relatable. They cut his services, and there was, what else could they do? What else could he
exactly,
do?
exactly. You know what I
Or
mean?
maybe
And
they want to push Batman all the time. Because look, here's a billionaire that saves people. Billionaire Bruce Wayne. He
of
saves
course,
people. Saves
Hmm.
people.
yeah. I mean, DC is like ground zero for the kind of white supremacist comic books. They were always like the ones that pushing the rich white man will save the world from everything. Whereas Marvel, especially Stan Lee, was just like, well, hang on a second. There's a whole civil rights movement going on here. There's black
Mm-hmm.
people in this world. There's Asian people in this world. There's all these other kind of people in this world, and we're not giving them a platform to kind of show who they are. And they'll,
Yeah, you
yeah, go on.
you make a really good point, yeah, because like someone like you look at Superman, small town farm boy, and
Yeah,
and he's like the idea, and the Americaned DC quite heavily, especially with Superman as well. And then you got somebody like Cyborg, the black guy, and yeah, we can repair him. We will infuse this black person with robotic parts to make him a better black person. So that way he's more like one of us because we've changed him by giving him robotic parts and stuff like that. Yeah, it's white supremacy
you also had,
personified.
you also had like, Green Arrow, another fucking billionaire,
Oh
white
yeah.
man. It was just always that. It's just like, it was just, it got so tiresome. Whereas when you look at other DC characters like, say, Shazam, you're like, well, Shazam wasn't a DC character. They just destroyed that company and bought those characters up because
Mm-hmm.
DC, again, were another fucking god awful company that destroyed the comic book industry to benefit them. And the only two people that came out of it unscathed were them and Marvel. All the other good stuff, which was raunchier, more horror, more violent, and then they just. But anyway, I could go on forever about how DC are actually, they're like the Vince McMahon of the comic book industry, rather than these like
Yeah, these
amazing people.
billionaire fucking superheroes are a bit much. Even they got characters like Zorro, who's there for the people, but he's a rich superhero as well. Even though obviously he's a Western superhero. But why not you just give your fucking wealth away, mate, instead of fucking
Yeah,
riding on
exactly.
your horse? He's Batman of the Wild West, basically. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it was always like, oh, the rich are going to save you. For me, a more interesting, like, I would personally do a story just Bruce Wayne, and it's Bruce Wayne who, as Batman, gets his ass handed to him by somebody in terms of like verbally saying, "Yeah, look at you. You dress up like a fucking gimp, and your tech, obviously, you're clearly a rich guy just beating on the downtrodden. Was I can't afford my medical bills and I can't get a job, so I'm forced to do this kind of shit." And you say, "What? Why aren't people like Bruce Wayne doing anything about it?" And
you
all
know
this
what?
kind of shit. But
Like,
then you just have Bruce Wayne running for office to actually better the lives of people, and he creates enemies from the elitists rather than the fucking downtrodden or the psychotic. And that for me is a far more interesting story, which you can weave Batman into it. It's just Batman going up against private security forces and
well,
all this shit.
well, in Injustice, when he was going up against Superman outed him as a way of like getting to
Yeah.
Batman. So the whole world knew that Batman was Bruce Wayne. And so and then the whole world probably thinking, well, damn, first of all, you're a fucking charlatan. There you are pretending to be this fucking rich kid when in reality is you're going around beating up criminals when you could be using that wealth you got to fucking basically better society. Yeah, Spider-Man
That's a good
is
Cheeto.
yeah,
And
I
Superman was
agree.
right in Injustice because he went after the world leaders. You know what I mean? He took away, he was just like, no, fuck you, no more dictators, no more wars, no more guns. And yet the American machine wants to believe that Superman is a bad guy. Well, no, he's not the bad guy. He actually did, because I'm sorry, but if you have Superman powers, you don't stay out of politics. You become fucking King Supreme, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
like, right, you know what? I don't want to see a single working class person suffer, so I'm just going to murder all the world leaders, take away your nukes, take away your guns, and if I see a single shot fired by a military, I'm going to wipe out that whole military. And I actually want world peace, not to sit back like a fucking idiot, which is another thing that pisses me off about like the concept of
Thank you,
Superman.
Daniel
So
Vance. Yeah, I hope that you do become a millionaire, but I want that huge super chat. Yeah, and right regarding Superman though, even though he's not like Captain America, I mean they're very similar in personalities. They're both fucking Boy Scouts, but Captain America is not beholden to the government. He goes with his
no,
gut. While someone like Superman, like he's so up America's asshole. You know what I mean? Like truth, justice in the American way. Just shut the fuck up, mate. You're supposed to represent the world, not just fucking. Yeah, I know Metropolis is your home city. Fair enough, but you are a representation of the world, and whatever your country says shouldn't be fucking gospel. you should be able to go against your country's ideologies at time if you think it's wrong, which is what a lot of the time Captain America did. And
he's fought the government fucking countless times. You know, he actually stands for the every person ideals rather than like the so-called like US government ideals. And yeah, Cheetah, you know, Spider-Man, again, he was purposely created to be a teenager rather than a man, and who's poor, you know, who's not rich, and is struggling through the kind of world of like being a teenager with superpowers and all this kind of shit. And that's what made Marvel stand out more. Like DC was just boring. It wasn't until the 80s that DC Comics got really interesting when it went dark and gritty and all this kind of stuff. But prior to that, it was just a bunch of campy bollocks. But as Marvel, you know, Marvel was always just kind of like ahead of its time. But they fought hard to get there because a lot of the executives at Marvel were just like, we don't want a black person on the pages. We don't want a black superhero. And X-Men, I mean, the X-Men is a prime example. He didn't want to make all of them white. He wanted the dynamic of a black, like Black Magneto or a black kind of Charles Xavier, but it got shot down. So because that's this dynamic between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Cheeto, welcome.
So I just got home from work, but then you guys were talking about the superheroes, and I'm like, oh, I can jump on for this. Also,
have you heard about anything else we've been talking about? Because we're happy to.
Yeah, for probably the past 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes.
Because we've also done like James Gunn's slate.
I came in the middle of that.
Okay, right, that's fine.
But I have not checked out everything on the slate. But I do want to retort to Zam, which I think Ginger you already did about Superman. Yeah, he's renounced his American citizenship at one point.
Oh, really? Okay.
He renounced in the 2000s. He renounced his American citizenship at one point. So because he said I will not be controlled by the government, the U.S. government.
That's good to hear, because like for me, when I think of Superman, obviously I think of Christopher Reeve and his movies, and
I mean, in the comics, Superman's far more complicated in the comic books.
That's good to know.
So,
well, there's also the new comic book which is called Absolute Superman, which is pretty good so far. I've only read the first 2 issues, but that's taken a kind of more darker, anti-capitalistic route in his origins as well, which is pretty cool. So, yeah.
By the way, yeah. So in regards to the DC slate, Ginger, I'm so glad to hear that you are on board with Peacemaker season 2. I just love it so much.
I'm gonna be deep throating every single episode. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's right, Winnie. You've come here for very classy chats.
I can't wait for season. It's been almost 3 years since we had season 1, so I'm very much looking forward to season 2. It's been a long time waiting.
But here's my thing. It's like, if season 1 is or is not canon to like whatever, like that makes complications from season 1 into going into season 2, because now if Peacemaker is canon to the Gunverse, then why was a Terran looking Lobo and a pedophile showing up at the end of Peacemaker season 1?
A pedophile speedster, just so people know.
The Flash and Aquaman showed up, but it just makes things complicated. And although I did like season 1, I'm almost like, do we want to play this line of, oh, it's canon, but it's kind of not, you know what I mean? Like the first season. So
I don't know. I can't stand that either. I know what you mean.
So I was listening to some of the cartoons, and I mean they kind of seem like, I mean, as long as we as adults get good things, I don't mind if kids get things too. But when it's all just that, like when he said Teen Titan Go bullshit, like
yes,
it can't be like all or nothing. It's try to give it across the spectrum. And if with this many projects, I'm hoping that they're like, no, we're going to hit all the demographics. We're going to give kids something. We're going to give young adults something. Or, hey, how about Young Justice season 6? Maybe, assholes. Or maybe 5.
You know what I mean? Twat.
And then also, like give the adults, like everybody needs to get something. That is what Marvel is missing. And I think they're kind of getting into that. Hopefully with Daredevil and then Deadpool and Wolverine. I think they're finally like, wow, hey, we can make a lot of money if we just include all demographics and all of our stuff.
Yeah, and there's also, speaking of Marvel, they're doing a Punisher one shot, just like the Werewolf by Night thing. So it's going to be a very violent, gory bringing of Frank Castle into the MCU type thing. Obviously, we know he shows up in
I'll say he'll premiere in Daredevil, but yeah.
but he's getting his own like one-off special, just like Werewolf by Night. And
Did they say what it's going to be? Is it a holiday thing, or is it just like when it's done, it comes out?
When it comes out, I think it's due out around.
So it's not quite a movie, but it's longer than a television episode.
It's just like Werewolf by Night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like Section 31. What can go wrong?
I just think.
Stop it.
I just think personally, if that's the case, let's make it a movie that you bring out on Disney Plus. You know, just make it 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
It is.
It's called, The Punisher is getting a Disney Plus special presentation, and it's co-written by John Bernthal. So he's actually, which again, it's not
Wow.
bad idea. Yeah. So John Bernthal is cooking up something special. Disney Punisher is getting its own special presentation. So that's exactly what Werewolf by Night was. While the internet has obviously been ablaze the last few weeks with the excitement to see Charlie Cox step back as Matt Murdock. Yes, he looks very bloody good. And there's already been a lot of good buzz from what people have already seen. And it's a lot more violent than the Netflix version. So that's can't be a bad thing. Yes. So, though it seems the characters from the MCU won't only be confined to Daredevil, it's been confirmed that Bernthal will be playing the Punisher's very own special presentation on Disney Plus. When speaking on the project, Brian Winderbaum teased an exciting story that can only be brought to life thanks to Bernthal's passion of Marvel's beloved anti-hero. It's like a shotgun blast of a story, but also has pathos, emotion that you want Frank Castle in a Frank Castle story. It's so exciting.
So my only retort to that, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, is do we know if John Bernthal is like a good like writer or producer or director, like whatever his role is going to be in this? Like you said, co-wrote, he's co-writing it. Do we know if he's a good? Yeah, I'd say. Has he written
but sorry, but if I could, I don't know, but I will say this: that he's been in this industry for a long time. He's read scripts. He's been involved in acting forever. He's been part of this character for almost a decade.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
And I will too. I'm just playing devil's advocate where I'm like, are we going to get a like rock like, and it won't get that bad with Bernthal. I don't think it'll get that bad, but like a rock situation where he puts too much of his creative license into it and it ruins the character. Like I trust him with the character, but do we trust him with the writing of the show?
Well, that remains to be seen because if he botches it, then that's the character fucked. I'm not too enthusiastic about the director though. He did like the god awful Bob Marley One Love biopic, which was terrible. King Richard, which was supposed to be a good film. That's Will Smith as the Williams
sister's dad.
Monsters and Men, which actually that's not a bad film. Okay, well he's okay. He's not bad. He's like.
If he's the sort of director that would be told what to do by the big stars, like someone like Bernthal, if he's writing this, then he's definitely going to have an element of like how things are supposed to be done, and I'm sure he'll add his input to a director who's going to be flexible.
Yeah. So
as I said, I just wanted to know if Bernthal has a track record of being a good writer or whatever. If we even know, I have no idea.
Let's Google it.
I mean, you don't have to. I'm just that is my question that I'm putting out in the universe. That regardless of what we say, it's going to happen. So I'm hoping that he'll do right by the character, the writing, and everything like that, and it won't become a big hot mess. Like as I said, for example, Black Adam was. Even though I don't think it'll get that bad, but still, like that was a whole mess that WB let The Rock like spiral out of control with that.
Oh, he's never written anything else yet, so this is a new kind of venture. So, oh dear God.
Yeah, I said let's hope that he knocks it out of the park.
Hopefully, he's got enough love for the character that
he's co-writing it, man. He's not writing it on his own. So I'm giving him. And like I said, like he's part of this industry, so I think he's worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean,
and I agree. We should give him the benefit of the doubt. I agree with you. I just was posing the question for discussion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, remains to be seen. But I'm looking forward to that. It's kind of you know, the MCU kind of needs more stuff like this, more adult stuff, less kiddie shit, more less fucking, you know, ticking boxes and vanilla quotas and all this kind of shit, and just tell a good fucking story. You know what I mean? And yeah, with DC, I mean, you know, again, DC, like I said, they're at the mercy of Zaslav. He could change his mind on a whim and just say like, nah, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, fuck all these projects, and scrap everything and get his, you know, tax rebate like he's done with the game industry. So it's a shame, but let's see where we go. We have Daredevil starting. Is it next week or the week after? Is it the 13th? Somebody Google that.
What?
Daredevil.
Let me
Oh.
find out.
I'm looking.
God, it's soon. That's why we're watching it.
Yeah, and then after that, it moves into Andor as well. So we've got
10th of April.
10th
of April.
No, it's in March.
No, it's in
Oh,
March.
sorry. That was the. I apologize.
Oh my God, Zam, you fucked up.
Scared me half to death.
March 4th. Holy crap.
I got 5th of March in the UK.
So 5th of March in the UK, 4th of.
Oh, so that's like next Tuesday. That's
next
like
Tuesday. Yeah. Excellent. Can't wait. Nipples are very perked and moist for that.
Dude, and
Then
they're
after
obviously
that,
they're
we've got
releasing it
Andor.
week by week, correct?
Huh?
Oh, that's so annoying.
No,
Yeah.
I love releasing week to week. I'm sorry. The binge model, at least for me, the binge model is not good for me. I can't do binge. I don't have enough time to binge a show.
I don't mind either way. I'll be perfectly honest.
Well, then you let us binge it and you watch it week to week.
Yeah, asshole.
Well, and we've done that. We did that with Prodigy and on Netflix. Like they released it all in one. We watched it 2 episodes at a time. So I would be more than willing to do that, but I can't sit down and watch a show like that in that like one sitting or even like that weekend or what. Like I can't. I love the speculation in between episode to episode. That's how we got what was it, Mephisto in WandaVision? You know, like that. I love
and Apocalypse.
Yeah, Apocalypse. I love the dumbass theory crafting from week to week. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, then I can see, yeah.
But I said I don't mind either way. I'm okay. I don't mind weekly. I don't mind binging.
When it comes to shows like look, there are a lot of episodes of Daredevil. So when it comes to a show like this, I'm actually happy that it's on a weekly basis. But there are shows that I could happily watch that are coming out in one massive binge, and I'm totally fine with that either. So I'm with you, Ginge. But something like this, I'm glad. Something like this, something this mammoth, I'm happy that it's a weekly show. Something
because we could do our weekly reviews and just have fun with it as well. So yeah, absolutely, I don't mind either way. Like,
and after this weekend, I could actually be on those reviews. So
I was about to say, so starting next week, I guess we're going to be doing weekly Daredevil reviews, baby.
It might be me and Squez.
Hey, that's fine.
Brilliant. Hey, more the merrier. More the merrier. So yeah, absolutely, bring it on.
We normally have a big turnout for episode 1, and then people trickle off. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll have to do something punchy with it. Like, oh, it's DEI. They have a blind superhero. God damn it!
Well, at least he's a white man. So
yeah, but at least he's a white black superhero,
and he's a lawyer, so he can be a politician.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a MAGA blind superhero beating up black people in Hell's Kitchen. Fantastic. That's what we want. Gary has had some long shots at NerdTube, but when he hits, the payouts are huge. Yes, Gary and
has he hit?
Famous Apocalypse insistence.
As the dude, Apocalypse is the biggest one. I'm like, I can't with that. I can't, and I had to physically stop myself. I gave him so much shit for that.
You were merciless on him.
Yeah, well, you know, he might even show up in Batman, so you know, you never know. Never underestimate the power of Apocalypse. Oh, by the way, speaking of, the comic books are going to be doing DC and Marvel crossovers are coming back now that Ike Perlmutter is gone, pissed off, and hopefully dead soon. Piece of shit, fucking asshole. I hate him with fucking passion.
Well, dang.
Yeah, because he's gone now. They look at the possibilities of just because the comic book industry is just dead. You know, it's on its knees. It's not making any money, so they need some ejection in it. So let's see. I want the return of the amalgam universe. God damn it!
Mm-hmm.
Give me the amalgam universe. That was such a great Marvel versus DC was great. We all partook in it. Our comic book shop. We were given our little cards to vote as well. So they send in those voting cards to like Marvel and DC. The comic books were a bit of fun, and the amalgam universe afterwards was fantastic. And it's just a shame it came to an end. It came to an end because of Ike Perlmutter. He came in and said, "No, fuck you. None of this cross promotion stuff. They're the enemy," and hate him. Also, yes, he did save Marvel from going under, but he also took away. He just
I
did.
am desperate. I'm desperate for that's the crossover I want. Marvel versus DC, Superman versus Hulk. My goodness. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what they did. In the comic books
yeah.
back in the 90s and all of that. And they had these weird rules like you got to stay down for 3 seconds and then it's a victory and all this kind of shit. And they should have just had people ripping each other apart. But yeah, like Lobo versus Wolverine, Captain America versus Batman, Superboy versus Spider-Man, Wonder Woman versus Storm, all this kind of shit. It was great.
One of my favorites was Jubilee versus Robin. Just like it was so funny. Like, and then they ended up like hooking up. Like I was like,
yeah, that's right.
I was like, I'm like these teenagers are over here. We're like all these adults are fighting. These teenagers are like, you want a bone?
Yeah. Makes sense, horny teens,
I would love to see something like Green Arrow versus Bullseye. That would be like an awesome.
Yeah,
or Hawkeye versus Deadshot. Something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Cool. Okay. That's everything I've got on my end. Don't know if anyone else has anything they want to talk about.
Did you guys talk about Kirk at all or no?
Actually,
no.
yeah. Look. I just want to say, I'm glad we bring up. I just want to start by saying that the idea of thinking of doing a series with a man in his fucking 90s is the most idiotic thing I've ever fucking
That was
heard.
my thought too.
How can you even consider it? There's no longevity in it.
These are the same people that bitched and moaned because the Solo movie didn't have Harrison Ford in it. Even though he was in his 70s or 80s at that point, like 70s at that point. Like these are the same people. They're like Captain Kirk back in the 90s, in his 90s. Oh, that's with CGI. They can do like there's only so much CGI can do, guys. Like, come on. Like if you want them to make a cameo in something, fine. But, like you want a fucking Kirk show, unless Paul Wesley's doing it or even Chris Pine is doing it. Don't fucking talk to me about that shit. I don't want Bill Shatner back. I don't like Bill Shatner. I don't. He's a fucking horrible human being and an asshole.
I know, but
come on. He treated all his co-stars like garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. But look, I just like we already had Picard. We don't need fucking Kirk. It's just not not the way forward. And look, I'm pretty sure that Shatner's in really good health for somebody of his age. He went to fucking space for fuck's sake.
But that doesn't mean he's going to be
94.
Yeah,
he's 94, and if you look at him, he looks like he's in his mid to late 70s. He looks fantastic. Whereas you say like compared to how Gene Hackman looked like a man in his 90s. You know what I mean? That's not a diss or anything. It just looked like how a man Clint Eastwood looks like a man in his 80s.
He's directing films still, by the way.
Trying age. What's that?
Clint Eastwood's in his 90s and he's still directing movies.
It's that unicorn blood they keep drinking.
Yeah. But regardless, you can't be gambling on a television show with somebody of that age. I mean, he could cop it at any fucking minute. You know what I mean? So
it's like John
just don't bother.
Confirmed as Dumbledore, which is stupid. He's a man in his 80s. You think he's going to make it for all 7 books or at least 6 of the books?
Like, I could see if this was a one-off for Lithgow. Like, okay, he wants to do Dumbledore in this one-off thing. Like, no, they're talking about multiple seasons. And like,
7 seasons.
And I'm like, I don't care how healthy you are. Like we've seen
you're just rolling the dice.
Healthy, yeah.
And it already happened during the first run of Harry Potter. We lost Dumbledore, so we're going to do this again.
Yeah.
Maybe they want that to happen. I'm not taking the piss. Maybe they want Lithgow to die, by season 3, so that they can replace him with like a Michael Gambon type. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
They don't have to pay
Yeah,
him the season 4 rate afterwards. Like all these
yeah.
streaming platforms have with it.
But yeah, no, I don't mind Zam's suggestion of Jude Law only because he's been Dumbledore. I thought he was in the movie. Listen, the movies are not that great. I get that, but I like Jude Law as Dumbledore. I thought he was pretty good. I thought he portrayed a young version of Dumbledore pretty well. For me, maybe not for everybody else. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, but from what I've seen, like with the movies and what he did in those movies, I'm like, I can see this being
and they can do makeup, so it's not like
yeah. And plus, he's young enough. Like he'll be around for 7 seasons.
He's 51 or something, right?
Yeah, which is perfect.
I think Paul Bettany could do a good Dumbledore.
Probably. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No, Paul Bettany needs to be in more things, man. One of his role in Solo was actually one of my favorite parts of that movie.
Yeah,
him being the bad guy.
I loved him in that.
I loved him. I thought he was great.
Yeah, I loved him in that too. He was really good. There's a few English actors, like I think Jason Fleming doing it as well. Like he's
What do you think? I always thought, what do you think about Jason Isaac coming back as Snape? I think he would pull off a good Snape. Like I know he was what's his nuts?
I think he could play Dumbledore as well, by the way.
He probably could.
Yeah, he was the dad, Sirius Black. Not Sirius.
No, that's Gary Oldman.
That's Gary Oldman.
He was singing his dad, Malfoy's dad.
Yeah, Malfoy. Yeah. So like I think it would be absolutely because
Malfoy.
Jason Isaac can kind of like but my thought is like because there was always that line that like Snape was touting throughout the whole books. Was he good? Was he bad? Jason Isaac can pull that off without a problem. I love him.
Don't say this, Vance. Don't say this. You're making me really unhappy with this. Don't say that. Oh man!
No, now we got to look into it.
I don't want to look into that.
Yeah, you got to give us more on that. You can't just make the claim without backing it up.
Because he's bragging that he was banging, he was banging Jennifer Connelly. He had her as his wife. I mean,
if you're banging Jennifer Connelly, you got to be a good person. I mean,
yeah.
Listen, I never. Go ahead, Jenny.
I said he's got like a history of being a snippy little bitchy type person, but that's part of his charm. He's not like bad with it unless he's done anything worse. We're taking digs at like Jason Statham and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I don't like Statham. Like some of his early stuff was good, but he got old very fast for me.
And he's like the same in every role.
Yeah, I'm gonna push back a little bit on Lord Donkey here, where he says that nobody asked for this Harry Potter show. I honestly feel like it's good. Like if we were just doing more movies, I'd agree with you. But we are doing 7 seasons of a series, so like this is kind of why like Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, or not Rings of Power, the new Lord of the Rings. Is it going to be movies or a series on Amazon? I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
I'm getting an echo from somebody hearing.
But I think we've never had this kind of format with Harry Potter, so I think this will be good. I think that it being in the film or in the show format, it'll be better than the movie format. Because I was not a huge fan of the movies. Like they were fun, and I hated the first 2. I thought they were awful.
I loved the movies, except for I read the books. Right, like they came out a few years after the books were coming out. And there were a lot of things left out. Is it from me?
Coming from?
I don't. I can hear her, so I don't. Is it from her?
Yeah, I can hear some. I can hear some talk. Yeah, it's not me.
Winnie, mute yourself really quick, and then let's see who it comes from. Are you muted?
Yeah, she's muted.
He's muted, and I can still hear it. So I don't know who it is.
I'm gonna mute myself.
Let's see. Testing.
God damn it, Zam.
Where's it coming from? Hold on. Where the fuck is it coming from?
Have you got your audio set up in your headphones?
Yeah, I can hear you from my headphones.
Oh, whoa. Have you got it running on a different tab, the actual YouTube thing?
Can you hear that?
Can you hear
what?
what?
Hear that? Test. Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, testing.
Yeah, we can hear it. It's coming from you.
What is coming from me, to be more precise?
The talk back. so we can hear our delayed voices coming from you. The echo, basically.
I
Mute,
don't know.
mute
Hold
yourself
on.
really quick, Zam. Just go ahead and mute yourself.
Okay.
It's the bug I placed in Zam's bedroom, Vance says.
Oh, that's what it is.
All right,
Yeah,
Zam,
so
are you
now
muted?
we're not getting the talk back.
Yeah, I don't hear it anymore. It's got to be somewhere from you, Zam. God damn it, Zam! I'm gonna make a shirt that's just gonna say "God damn it, Zam."
Yeah. Oh, so okay. So Vance says here, yeah, reading the text of his with depth during the herd trials was enough for me. Oh, I'll have to go check those. They're not nice. And
Oh man, really?
that's a shame.
Why would you side with Amber Turd?
No, we don't know if he was. It's a text between him and Depp.
I anything that I read into Daniel Vance, what he says, I take as the word of God. Sorry.
Oh, I see. Okay then. That's yeah. But I mean, I get where Lord Donkey's coming from as well, like, because we don't need to give more money and attention to J.K. Rowling. I get that, but the universe exists, and I know this is a purely selfish endeavor. It's horrible to deprive a nice universe that this cunt created just because of them. I mean, you can limit their involvement in it, which at
Correct,
this
which is
point
what they're
in time,
doing.
yeah, which
And
is what
as for
they're doing.
somebody like Harry Potter and me are the same age, which sounds weird, but like we grew up, I was a foster kid living in sometimes a closet just like he was. Like you're never going to take that away from me. People have tried to make me feel bad about it. I love Harry Potter. He was a form of escapism, which not just for me, for lots of people. And you can't just automatically make people hate it,
Yeah.
just because of the one person.
And that's and I get it. Like nothing would make me happier if like J.K. Rowling just passed away like the day before this series premiered. So she doesn't get a single cent from like any residuals or anything. But I think Harry Potter is one of those that it's just like it's affected. And honest and truly, like you would look at Harry Potter and be like, that's almost like Stan Lee coming out and being like, oh yeah, he hated minorities and he hated poor people. You know what I mean? Like that because looking at Harry Potter is almost like, wait a minute, how in the world do you, who wrote this, hate all of these different, like all of these different forms of, forms of people that are just not, they're not your typical white, but it's just like you have like, so like it's even described Hermione is black in the books. Like she's not specifically stated from what I understand, but like
right,
a lot of her features, she could be African American, or African English. Sorry guys, sorry, I didn't mean to misappropriate.
Just black.
I
don't have African American and all
yeah,
that.
I just want to quickly say regarding this series is that it's got a lot to live up to because the films are fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
Especially,
I love the films. Like I said, like I was trying to say earlier, the books, I was reading them, some of them at like I'd read the book and then the movie would come out. Because that's like how they were at a certain point. They would leave some stuff out, which would make some confusing things in the books, or like how the fuck did they get there, or how did Harry Potter's cloak not get burned up in that house that they randomly burned down for no reason that didn't happen in the book. So there's like things like that are kind of confusing, but so I hope they steer clear of that stuff.
I think so. For me, I did love the films, but David Yates really pissed me off as a director because he was the one. He just glossed over so many things, and the deaths were treated as like off screen or nothing special and all that. So I would have given my left nut if Alfonso Cuarón took over the whole series, because the third one, Prisoner of Azkaban, is the best one.
That's my favorite one. That's my favorite book. That's my favorite movie.
Yeah,
that's what got me into Harry Potter, by the way.
Yeah.
But the first two were okay, but yeah, Prisoner of Afghanistan definitely fucking did it for me. And
man.
I'm really
it's Afghanistan now.
They just did that. David Yates afterwards, he was too, like, it just felt like my brain, like ADHD, just kept skipping, and not dwelling on things for too long. And it's just like, oh fucking hell, But I did enjoy them, but they haven't aged well when I watch back of them, except for the Deathly Hallows. Those were pretty good.
And it's by the way, it's not dementias, it's the Durkas from the
Dirty
prison.
Turkers, yes.
I'm not saying any
From the
of this
prison.
stuff. I just want y'all to know.
From the
Again,
prison.
I get your point, but she's already a billionaire, and so unfortunately, you know,
It is
any
what
more
it
money
is.
she gets,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, but-
I wouldn't cry if we didn't get more Harry Potter. You know what I mean? But it is a shame to deprive people of that.
I would, because I want more Hogwarts Legacy.
Wizarding world
I
because
want-
she's a cunt.
I want
Either
the
way,
book to be fleshed.
No, I get you.
I want the book to be fleshed out, which is why I'm looking forward to this. But they're always going to be measured against the movies. I really do hope the series is very good. And by the way, people are going on about 7 or 8 series. They better hope the first fucking season turns out to be pretty good. But if it doesn't turn out well, then this shit could just fall fucking flat on its face, and they might not continue with it.
Yeah.
So it has to turn out very well. And
well, maybe they have the
let's just
same
hope
deal
they
that
give-
Amazon has with Lord of the Rings, like, you know, with the Tolkien estate, because apparently they have to do, like, this is what I've read. As I said, I have not seen anything to the contrary, that they have to do 5 seasons of, you know, for now. I don't know if there's a way they can like get out of that contract. If like there's a certain, like, if the show is a certain amount unsuccessful, but you know, maybe they're doing like the 7. Maybe they worked with J.K. Rowling and she's like, no, you have to do 7 seasons.
Yeah, and that's another
7
estate
seasons.
that
They
really
should.
pisses me off is the Tolkien estate,
should
because
be-
they're very much
only
like the
6
Broccolis.
books.
They're very fucking frustrating to deal with.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree with that at all.
There's only 6 books though. They've got to do 7 fucking
No, there's
seasons.
7 books.
There's 7. Plus, then she did the play. The crap, I forget what it's called.
The Cursed Child.
Oh, sorry.
The Cursed Child.
I
Yeah.
apologize. Yeah.
Then she has
and,
all those offshoots with the Fantastic Beasts stuff. Like those.
Now,
were
are
just
those
sort of-
books? I thought those were
No,
just
they
movies.
weren't books. They were like.
The Cursed Child is not a book either. The Cursed Child is a script.
It's a script.
script.
It is
Yes.
the play.
You guys want to know
I
something
said
really
play.
interesting?
Sorry.
That's the last thing I went and saw in the theater was the Cursed Child.
My daughter's high school did the Cursed Child. They did a really good job with it.
Nice.
Cool.
It was a script made for a high school, so obviously it was trimmed down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But like they did a really good job with it. Like I was
Nice.
really impressed.
Yeah. Don't worry, Sam's muted himself, so he's not getting the echo.
I don't know why I'm getting a fucking echo. I'm pissed off now.
Yeah. Well,
Now you know how we feel when we're doing the Star Trek watch-alongs, because
maybe there's an option left over from that.
is your Discord closed, Zam?
Well, now we can't even hear him.
I really, truly like the first thing I ever crocheted last year was my Ravenclaw scarf. Like, I really, truly love Harry Potter, and
Are you a Ravenclaw?
yes, putting all of that stuff aside. Can you tell?
Exploratory, adventures in the stars, absolutely. I cross
So
between that and a Hufflepuff.
me putting all of that aside, which I know is hard to do in the world that we live in, putting all the political stuff aside, like I don't know that I would have made it without Harry Potter a lot of that time in my life. So I can't ever be mad at it. I'm never going to be mad at it.
And as I said, I mean, it's all about opinion too. I mean, it's like, you know, if somebody doesn't want to support JK and not watch it, that is within their right. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
But don't be mad at me because I am watching it.
Yeah.
Or playing Hogwarts Legacy 2 or whatever.
Everyone has their like escapism, their coping mechanisms, all this kind of stuff, and you have no right to chastise another person in that regard. It's different to say, "Oh, I'm gonna like it because fuck the woke and fuck trans people and all this kind of stuff." Then you can be like, "All right, you know what? You're a cunt."
Yes, correct.
But to say, "Look, I love J.K. Rowling. May death come swiftly upon her." And I say that happily because of, you know, she has caused a lot of harm in the trans community and all of that. But as long as she's not involved in the kind of universes anymore, then fuck it, you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do? Fucking white knight everything? I'm a selfish cricket as well at the end of the day. And I want my escapism. Like, you know, life is fucking bleak. I've just sat here for the last 6 days with £1.63 in my account. I've had no money. I've had nothing. I'm just because I can't afford like a small emergency, so I've had to go to the dentist. Thankfully, I have an NHS dentist, so it's not expensive. But you know that checkup plus the fillings and all that, which comes to like $90, that's my month fucked. You know
Right.
what I mean? Destroyed my whole budget. So I selfishly will take any kind of escapism that gets me out of this fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it enters that world, I can't hear you now, Cheeto.
No, that was me. I turned it off. And that's why we have World's Gone Insane. Or I'm sorry, the DEI show this week is because we should have just called it Ginger's Broke Needs Entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, send me some super chats, you bastards. And all of that. But no, it is. It's just like the situation is dire. So yeah, I will selfishly take any escapism I can fucking get. It's as simple as that. You know, there's battles that can be fought and should be fought, but those should be taken out with the author, and not what already exists. So those are my thoughts. And again, like these are the same people that will sit there and cream their knickers over Roald Dahl's brilliant works, but he was a
Mm-hmm.
massive anti-Semite, huge anti-Semite. He hated Jews in the same way that evangelicals hate women. Like that's how much vitriol he had for Jews.
That's a lot of hate.
I still fucking love his work. Yeah, he was a huge anti-Semite. I still love his work. You know what I mean?
I mean, I can understand why they hate women, though. I mean, come on. I mean, you know.
Yeah, you know, they just get fucking stuff and do things and other stuff. And
yeah, they do stuff better than us. Why the hell do we tolerate it?
I don't know. I'll say one thing about some women, though. The ones that don't have hobbies are a massive pain in the ass to deal with as people, because women who don't have hobbies don't appreciate a hobby, don't understand a hobby, and don't understand a lot of aspects of life. They're the ones tend to watch like garbage television, like fucking Love Island and all this kind of shit.
Like
And
Flavor of Love.
Throughout my life, I've always said it. Like a woman without a hobby, you don't want to be with them, because they're just a pain in the ass to be with. Not necessarily they're a horrible person, they're just a pain in the ass because they don't appreciate your hobby.
You can kind of like expand that to guys though. It's like a guy without a hobby is probably having an affair.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You can. And even the guys without hobbies, but I don't know any guys without hobbies. But guys without hobbies as well. Like people that just don't have a hobby. I just they're dead inside. Like what the hell do you find, like even like, you know, people that love cars and all that, at least it's a hobby. Even though they're the most boring people on the planet, it's still a hobby. But there are ones that just, they don't have anything. Like even the gym is a hobby, but they don't have that. And you're just like, how do you function in life? Just stare at a TV all day and
let's say garbage TV. That's all it is. And it's like, man, grab a controller.
They watch just garbage, like absolute garbage. Like some of my female friends.
They're telly addicts.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just watch absolute garbage. They'll browse social media for an absolute just irrelevant shit, and you're just like, oh no, you need a hobby. Please get a hobby.
Guys, I'm gonna shoot off.
We're going now anyway. We're done.
Okay, fine. Fair enough.
So, anyway, that is all. Get a hobby, everyone. You can't be fantastic.
I have 1,000, so if you need one, you need an idea, come to me.
That's a real woman. That's a real woman. Has 1,000 hobbies. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And Zam is a racist. He's eating minstrels because he loves Joel Olsen or whatever that guy's name was.
Joel Osteen.
These chocolates are so overrated beyond belief. But they're worth £1.50, which is why I bought a couple of packets.
It's probably because there's too much chocolate filling in it because it's the egg shaped. Whereas the normal minstrels are amazing because they're just thin things and they're great. And on that note, thank you to all my co-hosts. It's been a wonderful chat. It's been nice to kind of get away from the politics and talk more heavy on the TV stuff, which was a nice reprieve. And on that note, join us again, probably in 2 weeks for the DEI show. But join us tomorrow because I do believe Nerd Relationships is on tomorrow. No? Yes?
I think so, yeah.
I think so.
2 weeks. Motherfucker, I don't even know if your own show is on.
We've talked about it.
We've talked about it, so
it's on. And I'll also be co-hosting where I get my nipples out and show you what a real man looks like. No, that's not
Jesus
and
Christ.
Also the
Goodbye.
season finale of Dragon Ball Daima. Me and Mage are going to be talking about that tonight, but that's going to be recording.
Oh, yay.
So. Well, there you go. So plenty to look forward to here on Nerd Channel. And I hope you enjoy the new name of the show, the DEI show, because we love Republican buzzwords. And on that note, good night, everybody. May normality